Roll call, please.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bixson.
Here.
Council members Clauser,
Here.
Hauser,
Here.
King,
Here.
Salvia,
Here.
and Trent.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So first off, public scheduled, non-scheduled, and presentations. We have our new code enforcement officer, David Bisbee, and we just want you to introduce yourself and say how you've been keeping busy. You can stand up there if you want.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real hot seat.
Can I just say,
Of course you can
I'm
say.
so lucky and happy to have David with us. When I first met him, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be perfect. He's got the right personality. You'll hear his experience. People in town respond to him. It's like not a fun job, and he's turned it into something really great. So I'm so thankful for him. I tell him every day, don't I?
We are. We're seeing a change already.
Oh yeah,
So-
he's on it.
That's what I hear, yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I come via Fraser, so Chief George, you can thank him. He's been talking about this since last October. I actually retired in December. Didn't come around till obviously May of this year. But I spent 27 years almost there, retired as a captain, running patrol operations, worked my way up through the ranks. I've pretty much done everything that there was in the public safety department. I enjoyed my time and I wanted to stay in the public sector. So when this came about, it was perfect for me and my fit in being semi-retired and still serving the public. And it kind of fits right in with what I was doing anyways. So staying very busy here, which is a surprise when you hear about Rochester, but I'm enjoying it and the people are. They're receptive. I find that a lot of people will get my letter and then they won't even talk to me. I just go by a few weeks later and everything's taken care of. So, and if we could get the word out, if people want to report problems, go to the website, see Click Fix. That's the best way for us to get it reported and track it and get it disseminated to the right people. So, yeah.
Well, we're very happy you're here, and we're seeing the work that you're doing. And I do want to just kind of make a comment about Councilmember Hauser, because he really was our blight guru. And so I think because of his interest in really getting us to look at what's going on town, then led to you and led to some great changes. So I don't know if you want to say anything?
No, just again, everyone, thank you very much for what you've done. And I appreciate the manner that you've been delivering the message, which is consistent with what we all talked about. We're not looking to be punitive. We're not looking to turn screws. We're looking for compliance. And you've really done that effectively. And through however mechanism you're doing it, continue it, please, because it's as Mayor said, it's been very noticeable. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Well, welcome.
That was
Yeah,
easy.
no,
Thanks a lot.
welcome.
Welcome.
We'll watch wrestling.
Okay. I'll give you my overtime slip tomorrow.
Thank
Go
you.
watch wrestling. He's like, yes, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right, now we have a library update. Come on up. Excited to hear what's going on?
I'm excited to tell you.
Oh, can she do it without an internet?
Yeah, if we had something loaded, we can do
Okay,
it, so.
okay,
Yep.
great.
Lauren was prepared.
Lauren always has a plan, right?
Thanks,
Here we
Lauren.
go. You're welcome. So I am here with your RHPL update for the council. I wanted to kind of refresh people with a quick look at the numbers. So for trends, I am so pleased to be able to represent Rochester. We are at a 92% saturation
Wow.
for library cards. So that means we've got about 12,000 library cards for a population of just shy of 13,000 people. So
We
it
love to
is
read.
insanely awesome to be able to sit in the meetings and look at that kind of saturation. One of the things that'll make sense as I start to talk about the updates is if you take a look at the circulation and the program statistics, we break down library materials into both printed and electronic materials. And so circulation for printed materials, it's over 1 million items, which sounds really impressive, but that number is on a slight decline. So it was actually at 1.1 back in 2022. And electronic materials, which is your ebooks, your audiobooks, your databases, we were at a circulation of 430,000 last year, up from 240,000 in 2022. Year to date, we show up over 32% over last year. So all I can tell you is demand is exploding for those electronic materials, and that poses some interesting challenges because we want to stay up to date with printed materials, but the electronic materials that you have access to and that are kind of more accessible for people who might not even come into the library building, those materials tend to be a bit more expensive. So what are we going to do about that? I will talk to you about that when we get to the budget slide. So I wanted to highlight kind of a year of progress. So after we signed the new agreement, what did we get for the new agreement? One of the first things I shared with you is that we are now open on Sundays year-round, right? That was a huge boon to the community, and I think people really enjoy being able to spend time there on Sundays. We were able to also support a new early literacy bus. I'm hoping that most of you have seen it around the community. Very bright, very colorful. You can play I Spy while you're waiting to get onto the bus. The community loves that. We've also completed second floor furnishing updates and additional electrification for those resources on the second floor. So some of those middle big tables that didn't have outlets before now have outlets. They've refreshed the cubicles, they've refreshed the seating on the second floor. We also are just starting the shutdowns for the elevator upgrades. So I've been telling council about this for probably the last 4 months or so, that we are going to be needing to do an elevator upgrade at the library. That basically means that second floor will be accessible through stairs. Staff is prepared to bring holds down. They'll have an adult librarian available at the first floor desk to assist anyone that can't handle the stairs to go up. But that's a big deal for us, and I think you guys will really be pleased with the updated look of the elevator when we're done. We've also done electrical room upgrades, so if you've been on the second floor and you've heard that annoying buzzing that is around the teen and the display area, that is no longer there. And they've progressed with the LED replacement, so I think the library is about 75 to 80% replaced with LED lights. I also let you know that we have a new Freegal music downloading site. So that site is subscribed to by the library. The bonus for that is you don't have to check stuff out. You can download it and it never needs to be returned. So it's not like the library that you download for music is going to expire at any point in time. So that's kind of a cool thing. We have reduced overdue fines. So we've revised that policy and diminished those fines. We also established a digital services department, so that plays into some of what I was talking about around electronic materials and keeping track of, what are our average hold times for those? How much demand do we have for them? And the electronic materials are unique in the sense that you can subscribe to those electronic materials when the demand period is high, and then they don't necessarily need to be culled. So you can subscribe for a period of time when the book is popular and everybody wants to read it. And then it doesn't create an additional kind of housekeeping issue on the back end. We just simply discontinue the subscription when we want to use it for something else. We also have added a new teen librarian, and the interesting thing there is that with exactly the same program count, we are up over 100% for teen attendance at these programs, which is fantastic. And she's got a lot of great ideas for this year. She's also refreshed the Teen Advisory Board, and believe it or not, there's now an application process for the Teen Advisory Board. So they went from really not having a lot of kids interested in participating to now they have more than they can handle with the board. And I updated and established the liaison website for the city. So if anybody has a question or an issue, the website explains how do we pay for the library, why is the library structured the way it is, why do we have a non-voting seat on the library, and it provides my email for people to reach out if they have questions or issues. So let's talk budget. We just approved the 2027 budget last meeting, so last week. We are increasing the program budget by 47% for this coming year. So that's done with an intent to bring in additional higher profile authors so that we'll have additional higher level content programs to interest our community this year. We also upped our materials budget another 3.3%. So now it stands at about 16.3% of our operating budget. So that is an increase of over $640,000 from where we were in 2024. Okay, so where are we spending the money? We're spending the money on things that our community is going to see and our community is going to use. The other big thing that I wanted to highlight is in 2027, the elevator is just the beginning of the story, so we are due for a really large refresh in youth services for this coming year. We're also going to be doing HVAC updates and bathroom updates. Hooray, hooray. The bathrooms are in dire need of being updated. So during that time, and I put that in my last update to council, 40% of the youth collection, so they've been going through and kind of taking a look at circulation and pulling the 40% of the titles that they think public is most readily going to be wanting to use. Those are actually going to be staged in the multi-purpose room with the rest of the collection available for holds and for the staff to be able to go get them. They'll be in storage during this time frame, and the construction starts in December of this year. So what are we going to do? So I know this is a bit of an eye chart, but kind of let me walk you through what we're going to do. So the first thing that you're going to see is the fish tank that we really loved that was over here is now going to be moved to the other side. We're opening up the entrance here, and you'll see a nice curved pathway that goes all the way back to the story time room, a stroller storage area, completely revamped bathrooms. So we've got a big and a little bathroom here. We've got a respite room that can be used for nursing activities, or if we have sensory issues, it's a nice opportunity for somebody to be able to just sit and enjoy a quieter space in that area. We also have refreshes to the, let me get the cursor back, refreshes to the public bathrooms, both the women's stall as well as the men's. And we've got a unisex bathroom that'll be going in as well, accessible from that hallway. You'll also see some nice seating areas here as you enter. Everything that's in the hashed marks here is going to be low-level stacks, so you'll have eye contact from the circulation desk all throughout this area. And we've established a new area for tweens. So this is a new seating area over here and new stacks for tweens. So that we're able to handle more of the kids who want to be a little bit separate from the youth area, but still aren't ready to go upstairs for the adult collections or the YA collections. So I think this is a great opportunity to provide some community seating for those as well. The other thing that I want to draw your attention to is there's going to be a large bib oak relief that's on this wall, and the ceiling throughout this whole entire area will have floating leaves at various shades of green. It's beautiful. When we get the updated renderings, I was hoping to have some updated renderings for tonight, but they were not ready for tonight. When we get the updated renderings, I'll be happy to come in and show it to you. The other thing that makes this really kind of special is along this back wall in the play area that we have, the puppet theater is still being preserved, and it's over here on the side. We're going to have a working water wheel. We're going to have a bakery area that will be oddly reminiscent of the home bakery that's going to be filled with kitchen items and pantry items for kids to play with, a farmer's market space that's going to have a design similar to the Graham, and it's going to have and you can see it here, a call out to Van Hoosen. So there'll be a Van Hoosen style barn with a rooster that the kids can essentially push a button and the rooster will come out and make sounds for them. We've got faux stone looking walls for the kids to sit on in that area. So it really is playing to, the nature that we find the library kind of surrounded with, and highlighting the areas of each of the towns and cities that we encompass with our communities. So I think you guys are going to be really pleased with the outcome. This is probably iteration number 4. And what I will do is, as we have more detail on the overall master plan, which is additional changes for the second floor and perhaps some repositioning in that entryway of how we're going to manage circulation as well as the Library of Things and the makerspace. So stay tuned, and I will bring back the master plan for you when it's ready to go. But basically, this is what's coming up for our next year. Any questions?
Just a comment. I just really appreciate your commitment to the city and the role that you play. Your reports are so thorough. And even tonight, you just keep us remarkably updated on what's going on in the library, so thank you for all of that.
You're very welcome.
And then last Tuesday night, I was asked to participate in Career Night,
Oh, yes.
which was, I think, very successful, their first one, and I just was so impressed. I guess they just started that teen intern program.
They did.
And this was a culmination of all that she had done, her ending project or whatever.
Yep.
Was very impressed with the whole evening and with her especially.
Great.
So, yeah, it seems like a very successful. Yes.
I totally agree with what Mayor Jones said, and also would like to add, I get your reports, I really appreciate them. I try to answer that I have gotten it and received it, and they are so well done and written. But I also really appreciate you bringing this so the public can see and we get a visual.
peek at what's
And-
coming,
Yeah, and a
right,
whole
yep.
peek. I hope you keep doing this, because it really helps us understand, and the public as well, what the library is doing each quarter or each, when you bring this information to us. So thank you so much, and what's upcoming. So we can answer, when people ask us, we can answer those questions. Thank you so much.
That's my intent.
Okay.
All right.
Actually, and it would be helpful if you don't mind getting the PowerPoint presentation. I did take pictures of a couple slides, but that would be great.
You have it. It's on the computer.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you. Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, we have Signal Zero LLC Film Company seeking to film the City of Rochester's parking system for a television show. Chief George and Officer Custer, you two of you, or just one of you?
We got a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Too, because of the internet, so
We're gonna try to.
we're gonna see if we can do this.
My
Mine
internet is
back
working.
up. Mine's back up.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, good news.
So take it away, I guess,
All right.
whenever you're ready.
Good evening, council, Madam Mayor. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to executive producers for a new docuseries featuring parking systems and day-to-day operations. I learned about this through the membership with the IPMI, Larry Cohen, sent out an email looking to showcase 3 cities and how their parking systems operate on a day-to-day basis through the CW network. Larry was very adamant that it's not going to be a parking war situation and that it's a positive light on parking and how things operate. Looking to do 8 to 10 episodes with that, possibly airing in about a year. I reached out to Larry with an interest, and we had a great 30-minute conversation about the show and how Rochester would fit into their vision. They are with us via Zoom. Larry is an executive producer, or executive director of Lancaster, Pennsylvania Parking Authority. He's an author, authored books on parking. Justin Insalico is a retired police officer and now the producer of the show Police 24/7 on the CW. They would like to present their deck slide to be considered for a vote at a later council meeting to allow them to film our day-to-day operations. I'll hand over the presentation to Justin and Larry and then try to assist on this. And I think Megan's going to try to help me here. All right, guys, I think you can start.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm Justin Insalaco. I'm an executive producer on the show Police 24/7, and I focus mostly on police content, true crime content, mostly formats relating to government-driven access. Larry, want to introduce yourself real quick, and then I'll just jump through the slide.
I am Larry Cohen, also an executive producer. 45 years in the parking business and author of the book, The Quirky World of Parking. And Justin was very kind to reach out to me to support this effort and be a good conduit and representative of the parking industry and making sure that I'm an advocate for the cities that we end up doing work with. So good evening.
So I appreciate the time. So this is a television partnership. The format right now, we're looking at the CW as a distribution partner. So it's obviously a national television network. They were seeking a series around parking and the broader world of parking enforcement, but also the highlight here is to expand the world and focus on the unique things, right? So it's more character-driven, more community-focused storytelling. So we'll just go through this slide real quick, go over the key highlights here, which is the biggest things I think most cities are concerned about is that the parking authority has full agency editorial review before any footage goes to the network. So we work with your city, with David, the chief, whoever else is involved in that process, so that they can review the footage and make editorial notes and changes, things that might violate policy or procedure, or just, particular people that they were interacting with that didn't want to be on camera. All that footage would be cut before it went to air. The other big piece here is that there's obviously character-driven, community-focused storytelling, not sensationalism. When I first met Larry, he was adamant that this couldn't be like parking wars, and that was never our direction anyway. Our focus in television is kind of telling the story, the why behind these things, to show the community, why the parking enforcement works the way that it does. The other key factor here is that, one of the things I found when I got into television was that a lot of times the cities that participate in these shows, they're not compensated. And so there's a compensation structure to support initiatives in your city. We could either do that directly through the city or through some local nonprofit that the city wants to support. We can make those, what we call insignia fees, available to that nonprofit. So the plan is right now is 6 to 10 episodes. And then again, the fee per episode ranges between $5,000 and $20,000. That's something that's negotiated in the access agreement. Once once we go through this initial meeting and we put this up for a vote, we work with the network to kind of negotiate what that per episode fee would look like. Here, the key is obviously this is distributed through the CW. The other piece would be that we would cut 1 minute to 2 minute what we call reels for vertical distribution. So that the parking authority, or I guess it's really run out of the police department, would have the ability to put these clips up on social media and kind of use it for recruiting or promotion of the city. So we'll also give you a cadre of social media clips that you can use for your own government or city purposes. This next slide, I'm not sure if is the slide deck up or no?
It is.
Okay, so this next slide is a big part on how this is not parking wars. Parking wars is more focused on dramatic confrontations, right? They were just focused on, they wanted the drama of the enforcement of the parking authorities. Our particular model is to bring more levity and show some of the unique aspects, things that people don't realize that the parking officers are doing. The community engagement aspect, the educational components, those are the things that we're mostly focused on. And again, we're inviting the city to be an actual partner in this, so participation in actual production meetings, and so that we kind of highlight the city the way that the government wants the city highlighted. That's kind of our focus. And so it's like telling the story of Rochester, but through the lens of the parking enforcement officers. So again, the city reviews all the rough cuts before the network submission. We do the pre-approved social media edits, highlight the community engagement and the other parts of the service. There's a structured per episode fee for any kind of civic initiatives that the city wants to undertake, and then parking portrayed as essential civic partner, a respected parking professional on team. Oh yeah, so then we have Larry, obviously, that will review all the cuts as well before we even send them to the city to make sure that we're showing the parking enforcement in the city in the best light. And then I won't go over this in detail, but just a little bit about us. We already went over Larry. I'm a retired law enforcement officer, kind of got involved in television, like I said, in the police space, and I work mostly on things that require some level of government access. So it's kind of my specialty in this. And so with that comes an agency-first process. We're always focused on making sure that the agencies that we work with, the cities that we work with are having a good time, that we're doing what we say we're going to do by those cities. So again, that includes these MOUs, the reviews of the first cuts, We also have First Amendment attorneys on staff, so to make sure that anybody that the parking enforcement officers interact with while we're filming, we would try to receive what's called an appearance release from them. If a citizen or a tourist or whoever doesn't want to appear on camera, even though we're operating under the First Amendment, we don't show those clips if somebody doesn't want to be on camera. We get an appearance release from everybody that we interact with if they're interested in being on the show. The proven track record, timeline. So this is the way it kind of works. We kind of talked with David about this. Is the season would be between 6 to 10 episodes. We're really obviously pushing for 8 to 10, but we're still obviously in negotiations around that. And it's just covering the full operational week. So it's what we call an in-bed show. And so the focus would be just embedding with your parking enforcement team, whether that's, behind the window, doing, customer service, whether it's meetings, whether it's, maintaining the meters, whether it's actually doing enforcement. We would just basically be embedded with the parking authority as they go about their day-to-day activities. Generally speaking, the filming window is between 8 and 12 weeks. I know that Rochester has some really amazing special events, especially in the end of November. So, those are events that we're hoping to be able to highlight and be present for. So like I said, generally the filming window will be about 8 to 12 weeks in order to get enough content for the episodes. One of the unique things here again is like most of these shows, like, with Parking Wars, they were just focused on the enforcement activity. What we want to do with this show is open the world up a bit and show the other elements that the parking authority participates in. So that might include, obviously, the enforcement activity, but also community outreach events, school programs, those kind of things. The story arcs, again, because we're spreading out the world, we're more focused on not just those dramatic moments, but kind of following the story from start to finish. So going a little bit deeper, understanding how, what the structure of the authority is, how it operates, how it functions, and not just capturing those dramatic moments. Protecting interests. You can forget, this was actually presented to Virginia first, but we follow all the state law requirements around video retention, around First Amendment law. Again, most of these things are all going to be cleared by appearance release. The city, just to reiterate, has editorial review. There's an access agreement that would be in place to participate on the show. The footage is obviously owned by the network. However, the authority and city retains access for any kind of evidentiary or public safety purposes. We do not film any juveniles, so that's just something that isn't part of our process unless it was part of a much bigger story and we had the parents' approval. And then again, any kind of things that go out on social media, all those clips are also approved by the city or agency. So the compensation structure, like I said, could range between $5,000 and $20,000. It's something that we're still negotiating with the network, but there will be some kind of compensation structure that would, again, either go directly to the city or through some nonprofit, some kind of endowment or nonprofit that the city wants the money to go to for any kind of civic initiatives. And then key questions. We don't have to go over this per se. If you have any questions, I'll obviously be happy to answer them. That's basically the generic gist of how the show functions, where we are in the process. Happy to answer any questions directly.
Okay. I have just to start with a curious question. What cities has this already been done in?
So right now we're still negotiating. We're in this process with several other cities, but we're at a list of like 10 additional cities to fill the other 2 spots.
Okay. Council, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, a couple quick questions. One, this has not been to the parking committee yet. So just so that they mentioned something about it, but we did not see this at all, so it has not been vetted through the parking committee. I'm not a lawyer, but this is a lawyer question. It says city reviews rough cuts before network. What's the difference between, do we have final say on what goes in? Or is it we review it and give you ideas and you decide what goes in? That's the question, one of my questions.
So the way that works is you have, the way the access agreement will read, once we get to the access agreement part, you guys review that, is it'll be buckets. So it'll be things like policy and procedure, officer safety. It'll be all these different buckets that you would be able to pull on, just to say, hey, like we don't want this particular footage to go out. Basically, the way that it's written is it's written with these particular buckets, and the reason that is that, and you guys could look into this too, and I'll send you some information on it. But is that there's a case law between cities and production companies, and it's called joint action. And so we have to create these buckets in the access agreement. However, like the operational working principle is that anything that you don't want to go into the show is not going to go into the show. And the reason being is that if that happens, we end up like parking wars where nobody in the country wants to do the show anymore, and it's a very kind of insular industry, parking. And so our theory is whatever you don't want in the show is not going to go on the show, but the access agreement will list these 4 or 5 buckets that you'll be able to pull a lever on and have injunctive relief to stop it from going to air if there's some kind of disagreement between us and the city with what you all want to go into the show.
That sounds like no to me. Again, do we have final approval on everything that goes in there? Yes.
Yes.
So if there's anything we don't like, we can pull it out?
Yes. Anything related to your particular city, yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Hauser.
Just very quick, is there a sample access agreement that you could provide us to look at in advance? Obviously, we'll have to work out material terms, et cetera, but I'd be curious to see just what your starting point is for something like this.
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Salvi.
Thank you. So I've got 3 questions. So one, the mayor asked about other cities. So just to get an idea of what cities you're looking for, are you looking for like a large city, a medium city, a small city? Like what other cities are you working with?
Yeah, so we want a couple different looks. So I don't want to offend anybody, but like for us, in the way I'm viewing it, is Rochester is our smaller city, and the other cities that we're talking to are larger cities, and then medium-sized cities. But mostly the other places are larger cities, places like Las Vegas, Philly, larger cities.
So are any others in Michigan?
There's no others in Michigan right now.
Okay. And then second question, you said this would be negotiated in the range of fees, but what factors would be included in? Is that something like depending upon number of clicks and eyeballs? Is it, I'm sure the placement.
No, the access agreement, I would say that you guys would be on the lower end. They base it on the size. They generally will base it on the size of the city. And also like, I guess also depending on what your guys' level of comfort is in terms of, there's something that's negotiated back and forth in the access agreement. But the factors are generally just the size of the city and what would actually be an impactful number to just, compensate the city for participating and what we call insignia fees, which is like, the parking enforcement's logo, like neon camera, and what we call a location fee. That's just how we describe those fees so that there doesn't look like any impropriety. It's just based on location and insignia.
Okay, and then third question, do you have any examples of your work that we could see?
Yeah, I mean, we have 4 seasons of Police 24/7. It's not parking related, obviously, but it gives you conceptually how we try to go a little bit deeper than just the typical police shows. But yeah, I can send along those episodes.
Can we find them on YouTube, or where do we find them?
Oh, yeah, you can YouTube that. You can also stream it for free on the CW app and also on the website. But I'll send Megan or David links to all that stuff so they can share it with you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Trent.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a few questions. I'm assuming that there's going to be insurance language that will indemnify the city and carry insurance, naming the city as the additional insured, and that your company will provide that?
Correct.
And then you say
Yes,
the.
we indemnify the city.
Okay, great. You'd indemnify the city. Okay, footage ownership says it sits with the network, not the city. So access really isn't control. So what real recourse does the city have if the content is misleading or embarrassing? Is that part of the rough cut review if we agree to that and then it becomes?
Yeah. So what we do is we give injunctive relief in the sense that, so basically during the review period, so the review period is about 20 days. And so
Okay.
during the review period, there's injunctive relief language in the access agreement that would essentially allow you to be able to stop the footage from airing. That's like the legal mechanism that we provide in order to stop the footage from airing. And then there's some other language in there about compensation if something was to get through, like you said, misleading or embarrassing. There's language in there around damages. However, I think the bigger thing is this injunctive relief language that we've included in the access agreement that allows you to actually have legal mechanisms to pull on if there again, this is, I don't like to get into legalese language, this is not my area, but we have this injunctive relief that you can actually pull on to stop the footage from airing if there was some kind of disagreement between us about what should air and what shouldn't. But ultimately, we're not going to put anything out that you guys don't want out. I mean, I know that doesn't mean much, but that is the truth. And then in the access agreement, you'll have this period of time during the review period for injunctive relief to stop footage from airing that is misleading or embarrassing to the city.
I would just like to add that, as I said, I've been in the business for 45 years, and it is my mission to support our profession, to show the world that we do more than park cars and write tickets. And I've been looking for a vehicle that we can do that. Unfortunately, the show Parking Wars that played for many years and highlighted Philadelphia and Detroit didn't do that. What it did was sensationalize the negative. It showed the negative interaction, but really no story behind it, and the where and why. And in my long conversations with Justin and folks, we've been trying to fight that this is not going to be Parking Wars. And I've told Justin and the team that we need to be a really positive vehicle to promote each of the cities we represent. We're looking at it from the microcosm of the parking, but it's from the eyes of the parking. But all the many things that the parking program is involved with, the community service, the giving back to the community, supporting the arts, supporting cleanly streets. I have a list of about 12 things that I put out there that we do other than park cars and write tickets. So, we need to do this the right way, or else it will never get done again. But if we do it right, every city in the country will want to be a part of this moving forward, and we're in it for the long run, not just for a quick hit.
Oh, okay. I mean, so your concept is you're going to have a story theme for each episode, and then you sit down and you talk to our parking enforcement officers, and you put together something that is entertaining but doesn't have any conflict? I mean, I guess I'm just trying to keep an open mind.
No, there's always going to be conflict. There's conflict as part of our business. But I give the example where Parking Wars would just focus in on a conflict of a individual having their car booted or towed, but they don't really tell you the backstory of the why or how it came to be to that point. The why could be, well, this individual had 40 outstanding citations that never were paid for. So that's kind of like really telling the full story. And the other part of it is, why do we do what we do? Why is there parking enforcement? How does it support the economic growth and development of a city? Parking garages, it supports the economic growth and development of the city. Why do spaces on the street have to turn over? Because you want the limited on-street parking resources accessible by your businesses downtown. So there's a educational component too, through the scenarios that will be played out through the daily, day-to-day things that we encounter through the taping.
Okay, just the last,
And ambassadors, parking
Yeah.
enforcement officers. I mean, I've done some videos. I never show a parking enforcement officer writing a citation. I just show them being ambassadors for the city, giving directions, giving, information, those kinds of things to put us in a lot better light to support the great things that are happening in your city.
So what kind of contract then would be signed? Like, let's say you do one episode and the city's like, I don't know if we really signed up for this, because I work in the visual industry and the creative industry, and it's hard to visualize, and this is to get to, we could spend another hour trying to figure out how you're going to go about boots on the ground filming somebody who gets 40 tickets but doesn't really want to, that aired, to explain why the city finally gives them a ticket. So I guess my question is, do we get like a test episode if we sign up for this? And we go, well, wait a minute, good, not good? That would be my last question.
Yeah, I mean, the access agreement, there's no commit, like same thing when we do the police departments, you can kick us out at any time. There's no long-term, there's no commitment in terms of, you guys are a city organization, so at the end of the day, the way we operate is, you have flexibility to leave at any time you want. You don't have to commit to anything beyond, us being there. So yeah, I mean, if it happens to see one episode and you're not interested or something that you don't want to do anymore, yeah, there's no commitment there.
Right. I mean, we represent the best interest of the city and our taxpayers and the citizens of our city, and we want to make sure this is benefiting the city. So this is really outside of the norm for sure, and I know that that's what you know. Appreciate you bringing this forward, and thank you for answering my questions.
Councilmember King.
Yeah, a lot of great questions. I just wanted to ask about procedure. Are you looking for head nod from city council that we're going to look at this? And then I assume we'll start working on the access agreement. City attorney will review, council will be presented with the legal documents, and then we go for a vote. Is that kind of my understanding? Or parking committee? I don't know, what's the process?
Understanding, yeah.
I would say yes. I mean, David's a creative thinker. He wanted to run this by council. Didn't go to the committee because you need 4 votes to move this forward. So we brought it here for discussion, but if we're not interested, we should tell them we're not interested. If we are, we can get more details from the questions you're asking, but.
I think I'm in the middle. Just because I'm trying to think to your words, the benefit to the residents. I know that there's some funds involved, and you could look at that as a benefit to the residents. So I think I'm a half a head nod at this point. Councilmember Hauser.
I think we send it to the parking committee, let them see what they think, and if they think it's something they want to act on, then come back to us.
I agree. That
And
was
then
my thought as well.
And then if they want to send over a sample access agreement for us to look at in the interim, that's fine too. But I think the initial stage, it ought to go to parking committee, let them talk about it, and then come back to us.
Okay. Councilmember Klauser.
You might have said this and maybe I missed it, but why did you pick Rochester?
It's because they met, right?
Did I miss
Is
it?
it because you met him at?
Yeah, so they asked all cities through an email, and I reached out to them. We started discussing the city and how we operate and our day-to-day operations, and we have a lot of great things that Christy and her team puts on, that I just thought that this was another way to highlight our city. I know when I see stuff on TV and I'm in the area, I want to stop in that city and check it out. So that was kind of the idea. Can we bring more people to visit our town and see what awesome things are happening here? So that was kind of why I reached out to Larry and said, hey, well, you know, why not? Why not us? Other cities do it. So that's kind of how it came about. They learned a little more about us. We had some good conversations, and they seemed, you know, I showed them the Big Bright Light show, and they seemed to like that and some of the things we do. So that's kind of how it came about. I'm not sure and Justin, Larry, if you guys want to speak on it, I'm not sure if you are 100% sure on us. I don't know how that's going, but was that?
No, I think after our conversation, David, I mean, I think, you know, this is kind of, you know, this is a tough thing to do when we do these kind of shows. I mean, access is always tough. The governments are always very, very weary of letting television cameras in. So we do kind of, you know, we're strategic, but, you know, we do tend to cast a little bit of a wide net. I think Rochester, after talking with David, like that time period with all these special events that you have, the amount of tourists that come into town, I mean, just the absolute operation that becomes for the parking authority is really intriguing to us. You know, it's a you know, small city that's like, you know, punching way above its weight when it comes to you know, parking and all of, you know, all the events that you guys have during that period of time. So I think for us, that became very, very intriguing to us. Plus, you know, Dave was showing us some pictures, and it obviously is a very picturesque city, so that always plays well. You know, you have a beautiful downtown, and the way it's lit up, I just think, you know, it'll come off great on television. And so obviously we take that into consideration too. Even though you have a smaller parking authority, I think it's punching way above its weight. So, and it gives us a different look than a big city. It's more community oriented, more character driven, which is obviously what we're looking for.
Thanks. I mean, I completely agree. Rochester has amazing events and things to offer and show. I just don't think that's the premise of the show. It sounds like it's about parking. And I don't know that's not sexy to me, so I don't know why you'd want to film it. But there's got to be something there.
Part of the story, the city, as Justin said, the city is a character in the story, right?
Well,
and there's going to be, there's going to be conflict, but there's also going to be, these are the great things happening. These are the folks who work here. This is a large special event, you know, during Christmas time that brings 30,000 plus people. How do they handle that in a small city? How is parking handled? You know, all the behind the scenes kind of, you know, operational things that folks don't get to see. They just assume it gets taken care of when it's pulled off seamlessly, but obviously behind it is an incredible amount of work and planning and all that, and that'll be some of the things highlighted as well.
So, given that it sounds like you're filming during our police time, our enforcement time, I think this would be a big thing that I'd want to make sure the chief weighed in on, and how comfortable you are with people filming our parking enforcement system and process and behind the scenes. And then I would ask questions about, you know, who bears the cost and liability associated with staff time for filming, legal reviews. I would imagine there might be litigation or security issues while you're filming. Like, who is that? Any of that cost on us? And so I think there's just a lot of logistics I'd want to understand too, because Again, I don't want it to be disruptive to our operations and the city staff and police force.
I mean, the filming's going to be to a point where, you know, I mean, staff are going about doing their job every day. So I don't know if there's additional allocation of resources needed. And as I said before, I sit on the operations side for 45 years, and I wouldn't have signed on to this program if you weren't given right of refusal on what can be shown and not. So at the end of the day, you're one of the producers on the show, and we don't want it to be, we're going to show confrontation when it happens, but we're also going to show all the great things that happen, the great people behind that take care of operations in the city, the amazing events that go on. I mean, you know, truthfully, you can't pay for this type of, free promotion once it gets to air.
Councilmember Salvo, you have another.
Thank you. Just real quick, I want to thank you for your creativity and, replying to the email and always thinking outside of the box. That's important. And then also, I do think because this is economic development, parking is economic development, I really would like to hear from the businesses on the DDA and from the DDA board. I mean, obviously, this is a council decision, but I'd like to hear from the DDA board and the parking committee before I feel comfortable one way or another.
So I'm getting the impression, I guess now this is a have not, to kick it back to the Parking Advisory Board and also to the DDA, adding that on, I think is a great idea. And then looking at what they suggested, we look at an episode of the 24/7. And then also the agreement, kind of an example of the agreement, come to us for review. Does that sound like the next step to everybody?
Yes.
Kick it down a little bit?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, does that make sense? More information, parking advisory, DDA. Okay, and I agree with Nancy that you do, or Councilmember Salvia, you always think outside of the box and how much that's appreciated to bring this to us.
Appreciate that, thank you.
You want to be a movie star, right?
Not quite, but, I just wanted to do my part. Chrissy does such a good job over there, so I thought I'd try to promote some business and.
Yeah.
I love that.
And have this, my guys out there, they do a great job. They interact with people every day. They're very polite, they're professional. I'm on the phone all day, so people don't see the backside of things and how we operate and all the hours that go into it. So I can see where this show could be a hit in a way. I mean, Storage Wars. I mean, I would never thought, that or a pawn store or some of these other things.
Right.
So they've also talked to if it's something that we wanted to table for the future. Their plan is a long-term, just go as long as they can. So, I mean, if we're not on season 1, we might be on season 2 or season 3. So we kind of get an idea of what they're doing. But I've had a lot of conversations with Larry, and I believe when he says that, people in parking have a lot of pride in parking. And if you go to a parking conference and the chief's gone, they're very passionate about parking. And I know Larry's been in it 45 years and he's passionate about it. He runs Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And I think that he wants to do the right thing here. So, and I understand your guys' thoughts on it. And there's definitely a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I do think parking's cool.
I think it's more information at this point. I think this worked out well. This is just kind of giving us a little taste of it, get some more information where we can really make a decision. Awesome. Thank you to everyone.
Thanks, Larry, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, the approval of the consent agenda. That's yes. Anybody in the public that has comments that are about something that is not on the agenda? All right, now on to approval of the consent agenda. Consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 27th, 2026, and the receipt of the check register. I need a motion
So moved.
and support.
I'll support.
So motion by Mayor Pro Tem and support by Councilmember Trent. Roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We have no old business, no public hearings, no legislation deliberation, or we do have legislation deliberation. We need to consider to approve the Elizabeth Park resolution and also approve the grant agreement and the appropriate matching funds in the amount of $125,000. So we will need a motion to approve once Jason is done with his presentation and questions. Come on up. Yeah.
She was kind of confused as far as when she could speak on an item.
You can speak anytime. Come on up.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. I'm 82, you gotta bear with me.
Can you state your name and your address,
I
please?
am. I'm gonna give it to you here.
Awesome.
I'm Mary Jo Dunhup. I live at 851 Dressler Lane, Rochester Hills. I'm 82 years old. I grew up 2 doors down from Woodward School on Woodward in Rochester, and then moved to Maywood Street by St. Andrew's Church. My parents were lifetime residents of Rochester. I graduated from Rochester in the class of '62 and have always worked in all the class reunions. My parents are buried in plots at Mount Avon Cemetery. And recently my husband passed away in October and is buried there also. Next to my husband are 2 plots that my mother gave to Dorothy and Jack Kelly, who is U.S. Senator Gary Peters' aunt and uncle. The reason I am here is because I want the signs, "No Pets Allowed," to stay up in Mount Avon Cemetery. I've been going to the cemetery since 1970, since my father died, at least once a week praying the rosary. Now that my husband has died, I'm going to the cemetery at least 2 or 3 times a day praying the rosary. You may not know that Mount Avon Cemetery is the first platted cemetery in Oakland County, back to 1817. Mount Avon Cemetery is first and foremost a place for remembrance, mourning, and most of all, respect. Families purchased a burial plot expecting that their loved ones would rest in peaceful, dignified settings, not an area used as a dog walking park. Visitors often kneel and sit at gravesides. The possibility of encouraging dog waste or urine near loved ones' graves is disgusting and disrespectful to the grieving families. Let's keep Mount Avon Cemetery, to who I am here to speak about, for the loved ones that are buried there, that cannot speak here today, and their family. Please keep and preserve Mount Avon Cemetery by not permitting dogs into the cemetery. I have here, and I've been attending the cemetery meetings. I made copies, and I'm gonna give it to this gentleman here, if you'll pass out this for them. One for everybody, so you'll have it. Thank you. It is a sign at Mount Avon Cemetery, and I just recently, I have to say, discovered this ordinance down here, okay? And the ordinance, if you flip the next page over, talks about the things you cannot do in the cemetery. And one of the things is by having dogs in the cemetery. All right? This came up also back in 2023. Mayor Pro Tem was at that time mayor and voted against it by having dogs into the cemetery.
I voted against it, right?
Pardon me?
I voted against dogs.
You voted against it, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
First of all, I love dogs. I've had dogs in the past. I see people come into the cemetery in cars with dogs hanging out the back window, get out and walk their dogs down by the old historical section and gone for maybe a half hour. I've called the police 3 times on this. I've seen people walk with their dogs over by Wilcox on long leads and they're jumping over the monuments and chasing the deer. The deer could break a leg. I just want it to stay the same and enforce the ordinance that's there. Thank you for listening to me. I won't disappear. My grandmother lived to be 99 and a half, and my mother 90.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Thank you. Anyone else that wants to come up? And I didn't ask if anybody was online. Oh, okay, there is not. Awesome. Now, Jason Warner, come on up.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. All right, I have here the same that is in the packet. So, I was before you March 24th of 2025, along with Linda, when we applied for the grant for Elizabeth Park, for the DNR Trust Fund grant. March 24th, got approval to apply for the grant. December 9th, we attended the committee meeting where we found out that the project was recommended and selected for funding. And-
I'm president of the board,
Correct, yeah.
because he did such a phenomenal job.
In a
I'm
snowstorm.
sorry, Jason.
In a snowstorm. In a snowstorm.
In the snowstorm, in a snowstorm.
That's right. You went too.
I was not allowed to go.
Oh.
Joseph, you're not.
Anyway, sorry, Jason.
So now we have the grant agreement. The grant is for $375,000. There's a city match of $125,000. The park project is a neighborhood park. There's a lot of site work that will be involved with it, a new pathway. There's no on-site parking, which makes it ideal for the neighborhood and the community in that area. And planned there will be benches, probably a couple of barbecue grills, bike racks, and then a little play area, 5 to 12, 2 to 5-year-old area. And then there's also availability for future expansion if and when funding is available there. So prior, McKenna had done a lot of pre-planning for the project. Even a few years ago, it's been in the master plan, the parks master plan. They helped with the initial concept documents that we used when we applied for the grant. And now we're at the point where we can accept the grant agreement, the resolution, submit a few documents, and continue on with our construction drawings. So tonight, we're asking for approval of the resolution that's attached and appropriation of the funds to continue with the project.
Before we go to more questions, I just want to just say it loudly again, that it's another grant that the city of Rochester has received. I'm amazed by how many grants we get, and we're able to do so much more because of all the hard work with all the department heads. And Linda, your relationships, I know, helped, and thank you for that. And this is a big deal. We've been wanting something at Elizabeth Park for a long time. So super exciting, and thank you for all the work to get this grant. And now I'll kick it to council members with questions, comments. Councilmember King?
So a couple of questions. So this is the first time that I'm seeing like plans for the actual park layout and design. I'm just curious, did we involve any community members from the surrounding community? Were there visioning sessions? Did we get input?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were, and that's what McKenna did. They
Yeah.
actually had an on-site session where they invited the public to come, and they compiled all their ideas and comments, and that's what was initially, or ultimately developed for the actual concept So all of that information McKenna used when they developed that.
And didn't we see this, and we've seen this before?
Yeah, it was in the packet
In
from.
December?
March.
Would it have been? From March,
Yeah,
okay.
March
Yep,
of 2025.
That's what I thought.
I thought originally there was no playground planned, so
There
I don't
was, there was.
remember seeing that. But anyways, so I have a few more things. During the visioning sessions, has any planning group seen the renderings of the actual design that came from those sessions? Did we get feedback on any of the structure designs, stuff like that?
That's right, yeah, there was a public hearing prior to applying for the grant, so there was opportunity there.
And when you applied for the grant, you had to have a plan, right? So this was,
Yeah, these are the same documents that were submitted when we had the public hearing and applied for the grant. Yeah.
Okay.
Councilman.
I guess my personal opinion, after, the project we just did, there's a lot of really innovative playground equipment that's out there. I would say it's got like a couple of features that are kind of cool, but I think you could do a lot more probably in the same price range. So just initial thoughts on it. I noticed that there was fencing, but I didn't see fencing included in the budget. Is there going to be chain link fencing around the whole park or portions of the park?
No.
Okay, it was drawn on the plan. And then there was an area where there was exercise equipment for adults. Is that a later phase?
That would be a later phase, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the concrete pad and pavilion was also part of the later phase?
Correct.
And then, I know there's a lot in here for trees. I believe we have quite a bit in the tree fund.
We do.
From some fines. Would it make sense to utilize the tree fund for the planting of the trees and to free up additional budget to maybe put towards a pavilion
a great
or
idea.
improve playground equipment or something like that?
Yeah.
could be considered.
Yeah, we can consider that. Like I said, AEW is going to be our engineer of record on this project. They're going to continue with construction drawings of it and then help kind of refine the budget estimate that we have here. So items like that, I could talk to AEW and we can take a look at what we can do with the trees and what that would do with the budget.
And because I thought this might come up tonight, so I did talk to Jason this afternoon. And he said that there is an opportunity to, we have a time limit, so we can't be like how much time we took last time. But you did say there was an opportunity to look at the play equipment and see if maybe we can use some of the elements that were purchased for what you worked on for By the Pond, that same company, if that's something. We just would need to move faster. So
Yeah, and I
think
have
there's
all that information. I'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss it and see.
Yeah, we went through a lot of plans. There might be
Right, so you
something
kind
there
of
that we could
know,
use,
because
but-
you've looked at so much, so I think that can be tweaked. Because I just wanted to know if this is what was submitted and grant was given for, did we have to stay exactly with this? And he said no.
Okay,
So-
and then, sorry, a couple other things. The surfacing, for the playground area, I know all the other parks were moving away from the poured rubber and the wood chips. Now this one, we're proposing to put in wood chips. Have we talked with DPW about that? Are they on board with the maintenance that's required for it?
We had a little bit of a discussion last Wednesday during our engineering meeting because these plans do specify the poured-in-place rubber. We're going to have some more. The plans that McKenna put together, I believe, have the poured-in-place rubber. So we're having discussions on whether or not we switch that to the turf.
Won't be wood chips.
It will not be wood
Okay,
chips.
renderings were wood chips, that's why. Or I thought it looked like wood chips.
Is that what I put in? It's not wood chips. The original design from McKenna showed wood chips. We had them change that when we submitted our supplementary information for the grant application. So they did switch that to the poured-in-place rubber.
Can I move to Councilmember Clauser, or you still have questions? Okay,
Go on.
okay, we can come back.
The phase 2 part, is that part of this or is that just like ideas for the future? It's not part of the, Right.
It's not part of this project. or
But it's
this
what we
grant.
want to do next.
Maybe.
And then there's probably lots of opportunity to talk about the fitness equipment, right? The fitness equipment, there'd be like opportunity to talk about that or
Correct,
plan
yeah,
or,
yes, yeah.
Next grant.
okay.
Next grant.
Another grant, Councilmember Trent.
Yes, I love this idea. It's a long time coming. My daughter is 30 years old, and she played at the original Elizabeth Street Park. So, yeah, it's been, I mean, it hasn't been 30 years that they've needed to improve it, but I know that they took all the equipment out to do this project. So I really am excited about this. And thank you, Linda, again, and Jason both, but Linda for helping us get this grant. But I do like to be involved with trees and covered pavilions like they did at the Sugar Maple Grove, which you found out a cost-efficient way to build those. So anytime you want to add those over here, that'd be great.
That's a great thought.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councilmember Salvia.
Thank you. So yes, this is a really important park for our families over on that section, the Miller, Rewald, Elizabeth, all those streets where some of our younger families live. This park they can walk to. They don't have to cross any major streets. There's no parking, of course, but we want them to walk there. So it's so important. There's a lot of things I love in the design. I would like more input from the moms. I feel like you just can't get enough mom input for playgrounds. Like you say fence, I think, do you want a fence or do you not want a fence? I hear from some moms they want a fence. I hear from some moms they don't. So I would love some more input from the moms. I would hope we could put up one of those signs right away, like I see in our park here with a QR code, you know, a link to get more info, to get updates, so people can see what's happening. I think that also, you know, maybe with some timeline where they could give more input while the cement is, I'll say, wet, you know, kind of poured but not firmed up. So I think that would be really important. There's a couple neighbors I want to walk over and talk to and make sure that they know this is happening or potentially happening. But I think it's great. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the resolution as written and attached and approve the grant agreement and appropriate matching funds in the amount of $125,000.
Motion by Councilmember Salvia, support? Support by
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
Councilmember King. And now any more comments? Fine, yeah, Councilmember King.
I have a few more. I love that we have the bike repair station, the pet waste station, the grills. Have we talked with, fire? Everybody's comfortable with charcoal grills being there. And if we have grills, should we have some sort of water source present? I didn't see any sort of water source or water fountain, anything like that.
Make a
Good
note
question.
and look at it.
We haven't
McKenna
vetted this with
would
the fire
look at it.
department, so there's a container, I think, next to when you put the correct charcoal in, but,
I'm just thinking if you're grilling though too, like you may need to wash things and it might get
well,
messier if
it
we don't
wasn't for
have
that, no.
water.
It's something McKenna covered there.
Yeah, I mean, this was driven by the people, so we had there's like 200 people, I think, showed up at this, and they drove this design. We didn't recommend barbecue pits, but they really looked forward to that. So, safety factors, we can work with the fire department on that, but everybody looked at the fire department, et cetera, and they were fine with it, so. But I'll pass that on.
Thank you. Building off of Councilmember Salvia's comment too, I think if you do a sign, I do like that we've been putting that a grant was received,
Yes.
to give credit to those giving us grants, just so the community knows how many grants.
Yeah, I think
there-
that's a good point too, because the timing of this would be a summer of 2027 construction project, so it won't happen this year. It's just the
Coming
timing
soon
of
and
the
get
grant, yeah.
people excited about it, because they have been waiting a long time. And I love the idea of walkability to all those neighbors up there, so yay for that. So roll call. Yes.
Bixson,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you.
Doing things
Thank you,
in Rochester.
Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He was wonderful. I have to brag on you. In a snowstorm, seriously, got up and spoke, seriously. And the president, because, we're scored on points. And we're competing with projects all over the state. And they pulled our project up from the president of that board because of the remarks that Jason did.
Oh, good.
So,
good.
and
Yay, Jason.
Earned his salary once again.
He's our star tonight.
Yep,
Yes.
star. Gold star.
Gold star.
He's our gold star employee tonight.
Nick's
Uh-oh,
like,
Nick, you're going to stay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Number 2 position.
Thank you. Okay, now, consideration, more excitement, approval of the social district ordinance. It's a second reading and adoption tonight, and the MLCC resolution regarding the social district. We've got the DDA Executive Director, Christie, and back up with Chief for questions.
He was right behind me.
I know, but he just,
he bailed.
he's close enough, close enough.
Bailed.
Hi.
All right, take it away.
Actually, I probably would defer to Jeff, just to kind of introduce
Okay,
what's in the
yeah,
packet
that's
since
true.
he
Yeah,
wrote that.
city
and
attorney,
certainly
I thought
didn't.
about that.
I'll do the
Yeah.
boring part.
You did the,
Yes.
yes. I didn't write that.
So, so before you in my memo, I laid out in the memo, so city council had it, is the city council moved the ordinance for first reading and introduction at its July 27 meeting. But there was a couple changes that I was asked to make to it and improvements to it. The attached version of the ordinance has a new section 4-51. One of the things that was spoken about was the drink maximums per purchase. And so I put in there, I think there was a slight consensus of 2, but that number is a placeholder. If you think it should be 1 or 6, you guys run that show. But I think 2 is probably I mean, that's what happens at sporting events, right? It's usually 2. So that's pretty consistent. I inserted, not that we don't already have ordinance language, but it also has a prohibition against furnishing alcohol to a minor or intoxicated person. That was comments at the last meeting. And there was a request there was a section there that the permit could be revoked if the conduct of patrons wasn't adequately attended to, and there's a question of what does that mean? So I did put in some examples in there that could lead, you can't think of everything, but I put examples such as excessive noise, disorderly conduct, public intoxication, and littering as some examples. Those would be the ones that I thought would be most applicable to the city of Rochester. So there's two things. One is the ordinance. I would like to point out that I caught my own typo, section 4-51, when it talks about the number of drinks, and that's subsection F. It currently, what you had in front of you says patrons are only permitted to purchase 2. I'm going to insert alcoholic beverages, and not 2 of anything. And then the next line down, it says it's prohibited from furnishing more than 2 instead of drinks. I'm going to change that also to put alcoholic beverages in there just to be consistent, and that's the whole purpose of the social district. So that's the first thing. So the request of council would be to move this ordinance for second reading and adoption. And then also in your packet is a resolution that's required by the MLCC to establish the social district. They need a resolution to go ahead and process applicants when they come and to make sure that it's done the right way. And the attachments to that would be the diagram, the map of what the district boundaries are, and also the management plan that you saw in the packet that the chief put together, management plan, which was a very nice, robust tool that will be added to the resolution itself when it goes to the MLCC. So the requested action is to also pass this resolution if council wants to go ahead and establish the social district. And that's the guts of what needs to happen tonight if the council wants to move forward. And I know Christie has more to say.
Thanks, Jeff. Yes, so George did all the heavy lifting on putting together this maintenance and management plan, which is fantastic. We tried to incorporate everything that we had heard from council over the last few meetings, we've talked about social district, the updated map, which is in here a couple different times. The little black spots just indicate places that are eligible businesses. That doesn't mean everyone has to. It just means that they are absolutely qualified to, because they have a liquor license in town. That doesn't have anything to do with the LCC. If for some reason the LCC feels that they should not be allowed to have a license for the social district, that is completely up to them. So George just listed all of the eligible organizations, which are listed here. Also, one thing that I would mention that we talked about last time are the wristbands. That's also included in the management maintenance plan, so that it makes it easier for enforcement, so that the officers aren't just kind of eyeballing and saying, oh, that person looks young and they have a drink, I should stop them. It's more, okay, I see people that have wristbands, that person doesn't have a wristband, they look of a young age to me, I'm gonna approach them. So it isn't just that you're walking up to every person on the street and doing that. So wristbands, as far as I know, and I think that George said that I haven't seen other cities doing that. We did have a restaurant committee meeting last week, and I did give them an update on this, did mention the wristbands and the 2 drink maximum, and they had no comment. They thought that that was great. So, yes.
So before if there are any other questions, that's great. The one thing we absolutely do need to decide tonight is the minimum, maximum that they can go in and get, how many drinks. Right now, as he said, there's a placeholder for 2, but also I know that, Chief, I don't know if you want to talk to the insurance piece.
Yeah, I could mention that.
I was going to say, that's another thing that was added on. It's worthy of talking about.
Yeah, so this was, we didn't discuss it at the first reading, but this is something that will protect the city from liability. So if somebody wants a social district permit, they would have to add the city of Rochester on as an added insured. They'd have to get insurance in their general liability policy up to $1 million, aggregate $2 million, and that just protects us. This isn't mandatory. The LCC, lets the local, authority decide on that. There are a lot of cities that have that. It doesn't cost the businesses anything. So before, they get approved, they have to show the clerk that they included the city of Rochester as another license insured or additional insured on their general liability insurance. So again, it doesn't cost us anything. It doesn't cost the city or the businesses anything. So I just think it just adds another layer of protection. I think that's a positive thing.
Absolutely. So really, the only 2 things different than their last presentation are deciding the limit, how many they can, drinks they can purchase, and then the insurance being.
And we did add, the first reading, we had the businesses that were just interested as qualified businesses, but we wanted to broaden that. We have, I think it was 16 businesses at first, now it's up to 23. So these 23 businesses that are listed, they're contiguous to the commons area, therefore they can participate in the social district or not. So it's up to them, but these are the 23 businesses that.
Because I think, didn't you mention, Christie, why that's going to help later, if you just list them all?
Yes.
As far as coming in front of us again, and once they apply for their license.
And there's only a few businesses in town, I think 3, that are not on this list. So, you can't incorporate the entire city, but I think this is very good.
Awesome. Okay.
And then if I can clarify,
Sure.
the only business that had said that they were interested in being in the social district but are not in the final map is the hotel, Park 600. I spoke with them directly and they completely understand and they are fine with that.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention about the 2 drink is one of the questions that had come up at the restaurant meeting is a husband comes in to get a drink for himself and his wife. Is that a thing? So I think when we were thinking 2, that's what we were envisioning, not somebody's taking 2 for themselves and off they go.
Right.
That's kind of where we were.
Right,
going
and I
with
think
that
that's
thought
what we
process.
talked about last time.
Yes.
I think there is some thoughts about that within council, so we'll take it away. Councilmember Trent.
Yeah, love this. Always thought it was a good idea, even when I was on DDA board, I know, and liaison and all that. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's true. I just have a question about this map, and maybe it's just the way it's drawn. Could you pull it up or take a look at it with the yellow lines? Because Water Street isn't all yellow, and I don't know if you're using this map, but I mean, it's a go-by, but I'm just looking at this yellow line, and it doesn't,
Yeah.
and I don't
So-
want to get picky, I just need to
Yeah.
understand what that means.
Yeah, no, so the map is a little different than the original one that we did, because as George had explained to me, the common area are the sidewalks.
Okay,
So we
okay.
didn't continue down Water Street because really we're trying to capture the mills and then they can go up Fourth Street.
I see.
The reason we
Okay.
came down Second and that piece of water is we were trying to include the Graham.
Oh,
So
I
that's
got
how
you. I
so we
wanted to
didn't-
understand what
We
that
could certainly
was.
add that, but there's no other liquor license establishments that aren't covered by this map.
Well, right, I just thought you walk out of the mills and you're thinking, okay, I'm not in the yellow area yet.
You
got.
You would be. It's
I'm just, if I went by it and I'm a rule follower, I just wanted that
And
just
there will be
clarified.
signs at every exit.
Yeah, I see where you have a sign.
Entrance and exit
Yeah,
point.
okay.
But the original map incorporated our parking lots, our metered parking lots. We don't want drinking in parking
Yeah,
lots.
that-
We
I
don't want
gotcha.
drinking in
Yeah.
our parking
Or
structures.
the alleys.
Or the alleys,
alleys,
just
yeah.
on the sidewalks where it's yellow. So from Second, going northbound to the Paint Creek Bridge, and if you're going east and west, you're going from Main to Water and west to Walnut. That's it.
Yeah,
No
I like
drinking in
it.
the parking lot, just on
Yeah,
the sidewalks.
I do. But then you've got a sign on Second Street. I see it at Second and Walnut? Pine.
So that you're
No.
entering, so that you're gonna be entering the
Entering
social
the
district. I can
district.
pull that one,
Okay.
we could probably take
Yeah, that
out.
can come out.
That one can come out, it's gonna have to be right as they come up to Main Street, so like maybe these little two red ones, one would scoot a little bit.
So when you're done, everybody will know.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get out of the district
no,
and get in trouble.
Yeah.
One.
She
wasn't sure she's in the district.
And I'm gonna pull up this old map and I'm gonna go, look, I can be here.
Such a
I'm
troublemaker.
sorry. It's not that it's personal. But then, I also have a question about the wristbands. Now, I kind of didn't hear the full statement about what you said. You're only gonna stop people if they don't have a wristband, if they've got a cup in their hand. You're not gonna I know you guys are really careful. I just need that
So
defined
the goal
about.
is to have universal color wristband, fluorescent green, it can be orange. Every bar will have the same wristband, so if someone's walking down the street and they have a wristband, we know that, hey, if they look younger and they don't have a wristband, that's a red flag, so our officer will approach them and, start questioning them.
That's if they have a cup in their hand.
It just
Right.
makes our
Right.
job,
Right, I just define it.
yeah.
You're just not gonna stop everybody on
Yeah,
the
we're not gonna
street.
stop
They have
everybody.
to have a cup, and they have to
Makes
have a
our job
wristband.
easier.
And they have got to be in the yellow lines. Okay,
Yeah, that's
thank
it.
you. Thank you for
And
all
I
the.
think, if I'm not mistaken, we're the only city in Michigan that's doing that. So we wanna, kind of
You'll be the
overdo
pilot.
it.
Yeah,
I'd rather
no.
overdo it than underdo
No, I
it.
like-
Same
I-
thing with the 2-drink limit. The Michigan Liquor Control Commission didn't even know anything about that. They just said,
Okay.
well, nobody asked that, so, but 2 drinks is reasonable too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you for all the work you've done. I know it's been a lot.
Comments about the wristband, not the wristband, about being able to purchase two drinks. Anyone have?
If I can,
Councilmember Hauser.
Sure. I see both sides, if a spouse wants to go get two, one for him or her, or vice versa, I understand. I guess what I'm trying to avoid is a scenario where someone's walking around town double-fisted, for lack of a better term, and it just turns into a free-for-all. I don't know how you police that, I don't know if I want to get that picky about it, but I guess I would almost want to start a little bit slower and say, hey, one wristband, one drink, and then you could always see how that goes. If it becomes too complicated or pedantic at the counter, you could fix it, but I don't know. I don't want to die on that hill. That's just my thought.
It just could make it a little difficult. Maybe the husband wants to go in and his wife's outside with the children. And it's just more convenient.
I get it.
And before there was no rules, so somebody could walk down Main Street with 4 drinks in their hand if they wanted to. In these other cities, I think 2 is better than 4.
Sure, and I'm incredibly flexible on that, but I guess I want to just make sure I really understand the concept of this, because a couple of people have asked. The idea is I'm at a bar X, and I want to leave, it's 9:00 at night or whatever. I can get a beer to go, or 2 beers, one for me, one for my friend or colleague or wife or whomever, and walk out. And the person can drink anywhere where it's yellow, correct?
Correct.
But what you can't do is take that beverage into store Y or bar Y, correct?
Bar Y, so you can go
Right.
into a retail establishment with it if.
I'm sorry, what was that?
If they want you.
If you want to go into a retail establishment,
Yeah.
as long as they don't, which a lot of businesses already have, no food or drink, regardless of the social district.
Okay.
You could go in a store, you cannot go into another liquor license established, regardless if they're participating in the social district or not, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you can go to a store, you can go to the baseball card shop or whatever, well, you know, but you can't take that beer or cocktail into another establishment that sells alcohol, right?
Correct.
You have to finish it before you go in.
And that includes like a beer tent for a special event. It's just like right now, you can't enter, if you're walking down the street with a beer bottle, you can't enter a bar with a beer bottle or anything, wine, mixed spirits. You just can't enter, it's against the rules. So you can't enter your vehicle. Once you come out, because a lot of these bars, they have an SDM license, they could sell alcohol to go, but the only difference is you can't consume it.
Right.
You can't consume that alcohol on the sidewalks anywhere. You can take it in your car and go home, that's it. This is different. You can consume off premise within the commons area. But you can't enter another liquor establishment, but you can enter any other business provided they want you to enter with alcohol.
Okay, thank you.
So it sounds like, because it's in the ordinance already this way, that one wristband person can go in and get 2 drinks. Is that how we're all agreeing at this? Because that is in the ordinance. So there's no changes to the ordinance, it sounds like. We're in approval of the ordinance as presented. Okay, so just to confirm with city attorney who's talking right now.
What, wait?
Are we okay?
I was just asking if a person buys 2 drinks, gives one to somebody without a wristband,
Well,
they
they
should have to
gotta-
get 2 wristbands, they give it to the person that gets the drink. So you could identify them. How do you know they didn't give it to a underage person without
We'll
walking up
let
to
you
them?
take
So,
that
yeah,
away.
You don't, and that's where the enforcement comes in. Again, if someone doesn't have a wristband and they're consuming, we're gonna go up to you.
Right, because you'll have a cup that
And not only-
identifies.
Not only that, the person that gave them the drink, we can charge them with furnishing alcohol to a minor.
And also to address that point, what's to stop them, you're saying if they walk out with 2 drinks and give it to a minor, if you give them a second wristband, what's to stop them from giving the wristband to somebody who shouldn't have it? And
We're
then,
gonna look at it, but it's.
Yeah.
well, that's what I'm
it's a
saying,
double
this way
point.
we know if they don't have a wristband and they have a drink, and they observe that they think that they are not of the age that's appropriate, then they know to stop them, whereas if somebody has a drink and whatever, and a wristband, they're good to go.
And the nice thing about this, the drink limit wristbands, you as council can change this at any time.
Yeah.
Anytime you want, you can make any changes you want. And that's what, it's up to us to report to you every 3 months, 6 months, annually. Here's what's going right, here's what's going wrong, and you can make the appropriate changes.
Councilmember Hauser, I think, has another comment.
Yeah, again, I'm using the scenario, I think it was, is I go in, I want to buy a drink for myself, my wife who's outside with the kids. Does she have to get a wristband too? How does that, the mechanics of that? Do you see what I'm saying? Because if I buy 2 and I hand her one, technically I'm in violation, right?
No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And a lot of our guys, too, let's be honest, they're not gonna be able to give wristbands to everybody. It's just something that's set in place, we're gonna hope it works for the best.
Right.
But, obviously, if they look older than 21, we're not gonna mess with them. If they look really young, we're gonna go up to them and ask them. Because it's just how it is.
So
It's just something in place, just helps us a little bit. Is it gonna be 100% foolproof? Absolutely not. It's not.
Okay, so if I'm understanding right, since this is the second reading and adoption, we need a motion for approval, correct?
Yes.
Of the ordinance.
Yes, the motion would be moved to approve, to move the ordinance for second reading and adoption. And then the next motion would be motion to approve the resolution to designate the social district as provided in the packet.
Who wants to take that on? I need that motion. Nancy?
I actually have another question, so I could
We can
take.
do this and then we'll.
Okay, so I have a question about process. So if this passes tonight, I know that the individual establishments have to come before us. So, people are going to want to know if this passes, when can I walk out of Tularoo and walk down to whatever place? How does that work?
So what's gonna happen, if this is passed tonight, you're gonna approve the resolution. Everything's gonna go to the clerk. The clerk is gonna contact the MLCC. He's gonna file the resolution, this management and maintenance plan, the boundary map, and also the list of the qualified businesses. That's it. They're gonna review everything. They'll probably contact the city, hey, everything looks good, or we need you to change this or that. Once that's approved, then my suggestion is, since we have so many businesses, is we set up like appointments for a council, maybe we have 2 separate council meetings. Council meeting 1, businesses 1 through 9 come here, and is all they have to do is they're gonna fill out this, or the LCC 208 form. This is the local government form. It just says how many yeas, nays, if you approve it or not for each business. Once this is approved for each business, then the business has to fill out another form, and they submit this to LCC. They're gonna have their business inspected. They're gonna do a full, they're gonna review everything, their license, make sure their license is in good standing. Once that's approved, and they show us that they have insurance, liability insurance, once we get the signs up, and that's another thing too I wanted to mention, signs. MDOT owns the right-of-way, in front of the building. We have to get approval through MDOT to put signs on their poles. Now, there's poles that we own, we can put signs on to start off with, but the main thing is those MDOT signs. We want them on the pole, so that might take a little while. Once everything is in order and we have everyone approved and the signs are up and the education portion's out of it, then we can announce this is the starting date. We can have a starting date for it.
So it would be announced the starting date, and so from a visual standpoint, people would see signs.
Yep.
And also, the establishments aren't going to be able to use the cups, because you need the special cup. So
You need a special cup.
the availability of the cups in the establishment is the other, I'll say, control.
And they have to have the distinctive sticker for the business
Right.
on the cup. My projection, this isn't gonna happen until November.
Yeah.
We're hoping Lanyap is the first event where we can have this. This is gonna take at least 60 days, to.
Yeah, yeah. And then my last question is for Christie on the cups. So are we going to have cups that hold warm beverages? Like maybe I want a little something extra in my cocoa from XYZ establishment.
My understanding is they have to be clear.
Clear 16 ounce, no greater than 16
Clear, so no warm beverages.
I don't believe so, because, I guess you could put I just worry that the heat is gonna melt the
If
plastic.
it melts the plastic, I'm not drinking it.
I'm not drinking it either. That's a health and wellness issue.
Yes, I don't know that, the clear cups, I will inquire as to the vendor if they have something that's clear, that could handle hot, but I don't know if that's a thing.
Nancy, you just buy the hot one in this hand.
I don't know, so let me get back
It's
to you.
just gonna confuse, once you have.
You just gotta ask the
2 different
moms.
cups, no, 3 different cups.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That
Okay, I understand.
simplicity.
It's just.
One wristband color, 1 cup.
Okay,
Okay.
I can make a motion
Okay.
with the answering of those questions. So I will make a motion to approve the establishment of the Rochester Social District, which involves approval of the resolution, the map and the plan, submission to MLCC, and moving the ordinance for second reading and adoption.
Nicely done. Motion by Salvia.
I'll second.
Support by Councilmember Clauser. Roll call.
Jones? Can I?
Oh,
Discussion.
more comment. Sure.
Yeah. I was just going to say, thank you to the chief and Christie. I mean, I think you've organized this as much as you possibly can, thought of everything you can. I just want to bring up what I had said last time. To me, there's a million places to be social and have alcohol currently. You can eat, you can do that outside at all these restaurants. To me, there's no need for this. We market ourselves. Christie, I've listened to you all these years. Family-oriented, home, front porch. We're not Royal Oak. To me, this does not fit into our image, and so I will oppose it. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yeah.
I can see Mayor Pro Tem's thought process on this, and I tend to agree. I'm going to vote yes, because I think that I'm willing to give it a try. But I got to be candid with you. I'm not married to it one way or the other. I kind of have like, it's nice, but it's not necessarily needed. But I know that, Christie, you've put a lot of time and effort. George, you've put a lot of time and effort. I know the local businesses are looking forward to this, and I'm willing and happy to do anything to support them that we can. But I want to see how the first 6 months goes, and so I'll certainly vote yes, but I really hope that this goes off in the right direction, and, we do all the things necessary, but I just wanted to make sure that point was made. Thanks.
Roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
No.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, I think Chief's going to stay up here for the next one. Consideration to approve a traffic control order converting the intersection of Griggs Street and Pine Street to a four-way stop. And I do just have to compliment how quick, I mean, this was a resident concern, and you immediately jumped on it and did what you needed to do, and so thank you for that.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
with that, the detail around it.
Yeah, just real quick, Councilperson King had brought this to my attention, and I had a few phone calls from people that live on Drace and also on Griggs. They said, hey, you know what, take a look at this intersection. They talked about consistency. If you're driving down Drace and Pine, it's a four-way stop. If you're going down Ferndale and Pine, it's a four-way stop. Then there's Griggs. There's no stop signs, on Griggs, but there are on Pine. So I went down there, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a big fan of stop signs. They work in some areas, they don't in others, but you know what? I went down there a couple times, and I listened to people. It just makes sense in this intersection to make it a four-way stop. This is a very unique area. You have you have a child care place at the end of Griggs, the far west end. You also have Memorial Grove Park there, and you also have buses going down the street, traveling west or east, and they're dropping people off at Memorial Grove Park. So I think 2 more stop signs, I think that will help with the traffic. It'll make it more consistent. At least they have to stop right there. And, it just, I think this is a good thing, and I'm all for it, and just hopefully you are. So the next step would be, if this gets approved, the city manager will sign the traffic control order. It gets filed with the clerk's office. I'll notify the DPW. They will install signs. We'll probably put orange flags in the signs. We usually give people a good couple, 3 weeks, 30 days, just to get used to it. Because, it's not fair just to throw up a stop sign the next day and then give somebody a ticket. I don't want to do that. So, so it just, to me, it makes sense to have a four-way stop there. And again, the uniqueness is the school and the park and the buses, so.
Any questions for Chief? Councilmember King?
I just want to provide a comment. So I originally was asked by some neighbors at our block party last fall, which was in probably end of September or October, about this. And I waited, I talked to some others. I wanted to get kind of consensus. I talked to others that were on Drace who had the stop sign, which even Drace is a dead end. So there's very little traffic that flows through. But after seeking, a lot of neighborhood feedback, there was a strong desire to see this with this school at the end of the street, with it being a continuous flow through. You can get back to Albertson, you get people, flying through there, and there's a lot of families and kids in the bus stop too. So I really want to just thank you for taking a look at this, for listening to the residents, for going out there and seeing it for yourself. So I think people will be very pleased to have this added safety feature.
Okay, I think I need a motion.
Oh, you can do it?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
for the traffic control order, converting the intersection of Griggs Street and Pine Street to a four-way stop.
Motion by King, support? Support by Hauser, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Motion
Thanks,
passes.
Chief.
Great, thank you. All right, moving along to reports and regular business, we have consideration of a service contract with My Green Michigan, and I believe Nick Schaefer is already up here, so yes, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yeah, this evening we're looking to move forward with our rollout for the food recycling program. Thanks to Councilwoman Trent, who's done a lot of work in this, and with our committee. So we're at the final stages and looking for approval for the service contract. To start off, there will be 3 bins located at the DPW, 64 gallons. That'll be kind of our kickoff start. That monthly cost is $342, and they will be picked up weekly. So it's available for any resident that wants to come to our location. They will be outside the gates on the east side of the property, just past the skate park. So it'll be 24/7 access to the bins. So it's not just our business hours. And then we're gonna catch the fall newsletter and kind of put a lot of this literature that you see tonight in that to kind of get that word out, plus with the website, and then hopefully just word of mouth. So, tonight we're looking for the approval of the contract. We did have this in the budget, if you remember, of $20,000. The roll-off right now is only around $4,100, so we're not even near that ceiling, so we definitely have room to grow.
Council, questions about the contract and the company? Councilmember Hauser.
This isn't any additional cost to residents, right? Or do they have to get bins or special bins or anything, or?
For at home, a simple 5-gallon bucket with a lid is all they'll typically need. They can put a liner in it if they want to keep it clean. But really all you need is a Home Depot 5-gallon bucket with a lid. I think they're about $5, and you keep it in there and then bring them to our facility and dump, and then we'll have it emptied every week, so.
Awesome. I just have to make a comment, just thanks to Councilmember Trent for her plowing through all of this and organizing all of
She's got a lot of
this.
time.
And I hear great things about the committee, and thank you for your involvement. I feel like we're blazing some trails here in Rochester, so thank you for all that you've done, and we're excited to get it going.
Yeah.
So I guess I need a motion.
Councilmember Trent?
Yeah, okay. Well, I would like to make a motion to approve the service contract with My Green Michigan.
Motion from Trent, support from Sylvia.
Support, and I'll just add a comment that I know many of my neighbors are so excited about this, and they cannot wait, and I hope we hit that 3-bin capacity right away or quickly, and then can we, if we're exceeding that, can we add to it during the contract year? Okay, that's great. And so this is limited to residents only?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if it's residents only and it's going to be on the outside of the gate, I know we've had that problem already. I
We're
guess
gonna
we
need a little
just,
honor system with it.
yeah.
Do we
just
have a
like we
camera?
do, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just say something. Yes, we're going to have all the information on the website. There'll be information about the acceptable compostable materials for everyone, and it will be on the signage on the bins. And then a QR code to the website for any other FAQs, any questions that people could have. Non-acceptable materials, and we get a little grace on that. If you decide to throw glass in there or metal, they will give us that. But they have found, My Green Michigan has said that mostly the cities and people who are doing this are very careful. And I also want to say that I have a wonderful committee, and I have 2 residents that are been so helpful. They are very helpful to, one of them called Ferndale, another one called Royal Oak, and they got great rave reviews about how their food composting have been so well received, and that they have expanded it, and that they actually had to add these additional bins to keep up with resident participation. And I think that we'll have real demand, so I really feel good about Councilmember Salvia's excitement and her neighbors. And I appreciate that My Green Michigan provides a portal that tracks the methane gas saved and the amount of food diverted from landfills that our city will be doing. So we'll get reports on that. We'll make the data available to residents so they can see a real measurable impact of their participation, not just a general sense that, hey, we're doing a good thing for the environment. And finally, I want to thank the city staff and especially the DPW for their work for getting this program to this point, putting it in their yard, their DPW yard, and Nick Schaefer and Colin Pettick, who are on the committee, the sustainability and their excitement, or their appreciation and basically, I guess I'd say excitement for this is something good for the city.
It's gonna be cool to see how many residents get involved, and then we can always add locations too, so.
Yeah.
A lot of, to your question, Mayor, a lot of communities have it at their city halls and all, so a lot of them aren't lock and key, but hopefully we don't have that issue.
Yeah. So there'll be a few, I'm
Very
sure.
good question.
Yeah. Okay, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next, consideration to approve adjustments to the water and sewer rates. I believe Marcy's coming up, but do we also have someone virtually or no?
We have
Colin? Is Colin going to be, okay.
and we're having a few difficulties with internet today, so I've got him on speaker.
Okay. And he is with Ref Tellus, correct?
He's our city consultant on water and sewer rates. He's been with us for several years now. So Colin, can you hear us?
Sure, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
I can
think
turn.
so.
A little more volume.
Okay, try again, Colin.
Okay, how about now?
Maybe the microphone
Is that
just a
still
little
quiet?
closer.
Let's see.
There we
All
go.
right, let's try that. Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll kick this off with the memo that was in your packet. Part of our annual process is we review those water and sewer rates. And that's because there's many different components that go into the water and sewer billing. So we've got the rates provided to you here. It's been presented by Raftellus to the Asset Committee, city staff, and now it's in front of City Council for its final review and hopefully approval. So the rates would change as of September 1. And the analysis identified the need for some moderate adjustments to both the water and sewer components. So Colin, would it be helpful if I turned it over to you and then we could go through your slides?
Sure, absolutely. You can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, now I can, yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm assuming we're looking at the cover slide here, and just appreciate the opportunity to chat with you all and continue to work together on the water and sewer rates. We've been doing this since 2019 annually, which is good. It's certainly a good practice to have, and I think keeps things on track and keeps things as smooth as possible in terms of getting things adjusted, but also making sure all of the infrastructure is funded. So we could go to the agenda slide.
Okay.
Just a brief agenda. I'll give you a little bit of background just for anyone watching that may not be familiar with the rates, or just as a refresher to those that aren't thinking about this all the time. A little bit on the rate setting process, just how we think about setting the rates and recommendations, and we can end with Q&A. Of course, certainly stop me anytime as well, but I may need Marcy's help if someone's trying to ask a question, because I'm just kind of on the phone here. We can go to the next slide. Okay. Just a reminder that I kind of like to share when I do these presentations, just thinking about the level of service that we provide our customers, and it does sort of go unnoticed, but I like to make sure that I highlight it, and certainly would encourage you all to do the same when you talk about water and sewer rates. And that's just the fact that people receive service 24/7, 365 for about 2 pennies per gallon. So when they turn on the tap, the water is there. It's always there. It's safe. It's reliable. And likewise with sewer, it is collected and cleaned and disposed of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And it costs, if you look at the typical bill and divide out the volumes, it's about 2 pennies per gallon. So we provide a high level of high quality service in this city. So I think it's important to kind of put that in context as you think about what we need to do in terms of the rates to kind of keep that going. So go to the background slide. So just really briefly, a little bit on the city utilities. So a little bit of a unique situation. We have two sort of water systems, two sources of water, if you will. We have well water, and that comes from groundwater, and we also purchase water from Great Lakes Water Authority through Shelby Township, and that's surface water that comes from Lake Michigan. So we actually have two water systems, and we have two separate rates on the water side. One to cover the water that's purchased from Gliwa through Shelby Township, and another to cover the well side, and just kind of recognizing that difference in cost there. We do have one sewer system, so everyone has the same set of sewer rates and is on the same sewer system. In terms of what the rates cover, we have operating costs, which are the costs to
distribute the water we purchase and that we get from our groundwater wells, as well as the cost to purchase the water in the case of the GLEWA side. So those are our operating costs. And then on the infrastructure side, it's really the cost to repair, replace, and maintain our water mains and our sewer collection mains. So in the case of the city, you all actually have separate funds for each of those costs. So you have rates for the operating costs, and then you have infrastructure charges to cover the cost of repairing and replacing water and sewer infrastructure. And in terms of the rate structure itself, so how the costs are recovered, we have usage charges per 100 cubic feet. And for those that aren't familiar with that, it's about 750 gallons. So you hear CCF, HCF, or units sometimes is used. 1 unit of water is about 750 gallons, the way we bill that. And then we also have fixed charges per quarter based on the size of a water meter. So a typical resident would have, maybe a 5/8 inch to maybe 1 to 1.5 inch meter. Larger commercial customers, they may have 2 or 3 inch meters. And I think for maybe the largest we may have a 6 as well. But those fixed charges scale by meter size in recognition of the fact that a larger customer basically has more potential demand on the water system, which is kind of recognized by their meter size and that higher charge. We have gotten in a pattern of reviewing the rates annually, and the reason that we do that, and the reason I think it works well in a lot of places, is you can kind of make smooth, predictable adjustments. So we're not really waiting until something pops up, but we're trying to look out 5, 6, 7 years and see what's coming down the road and work our way towards those things in as smooth a manner as possible. And what that allows us to do is make kind of steady incremental adjustments, as opposed to the alternative, which would be kind of waiting until you really need to do something, and then those adjustments might be much larger. So we've been able to, using that process, keep things in about the same range in terms of percentage adjustments year over year for the past, I'd say about 7 years, I think is the time that we've been kind of digging into it. Go to the next slide. Just in terms of the process, really you could think of it sort of like your budgeting process. We're just extrapolating that out over a 5-year period. So we're forecasting expenses. We're forecasting revenues if we don't do anything, and I've got a graphic to show that in a second. But imagine if you don't change your rates, how would they compare to your expenses, knowing that your expenses are generally going to rise year over year? And then we compare revenue to expenses to see whether existing revenues, in the absence of a rate adjustment, are sufficient to cover projected expenses. And really the purpose of that is to kind of take a long-term view of funding. So we're trying to look out over, several years to ensure we're on track. And it's, I kind of called it a hands on the wheel type exercise. So you imagine you're driving on the interstate, you're really making small sort of incremental changes to keep things on track. And that's kind of the idea with this long-term way of looking at it. Just a couple considerations. A good chunk of our operating costs are that service that we purchase for water through GLEWA, and then on the sewer side, wastewater treatment service through Oakland County. So that's probably 40 to 50% of the cost of those water service and sewer service. It's a good chunk of our cost there. In addition, it is capital intensive, so we do have to repair and replace our local infrastructure in addition to paying the costs to our regional providers. And then, of course, I mentioned several times that the forecasts aren't set in stone, but we do look at them annually. So go to slide 6 here. Okay, so now you should see some bullets on the left and some graphs on the right. top right graph, it says cash flow forecast. That's sort of a visual representation of what I mentioned earlier. The stacked bars represent our expenses, and the lines represent our revenues, with the solid line being existing revenue, and the dashed line being proposed revenue with rate adjustments. So you can see there, if you think about the expenses, that dark blue is what it says supplier O&M. That's the cost of purchasing water and sewer service from our regional providers. So if you can tell that, over half of that, say, is costs that are not directly or at least not immediately under our control. We pay the rates that they charge, and we have to pass those on to our customers. And then layered on top of that, we have the cost of our system, the city operation and maintenance, debt service on some SRF loans that we've taken out to replace water and sewer mains. And then that gray bar is called PAYGO, which is pay as you go, but it's just cash funding of capital expenses. So you can see, just kind of comparing that line to the stacked bar, that we are, without a rate adjustment at a point where revenues are not going to cover our ongoing costs. But if you look at the bottom graphic, that shows our fund balance. So that's sort of our reserves that we can use to help smooth the rates and fund capital projects. So you can see that even though we are kind of below on a projection basis, revenues versus expenses, we have existing fund balance that we can use to smooth into those higher rate levels. And that allows us to keep things somewhat even though the expenses, especially on the capital side, can be a little bit lumpier there. So even if, we use some of that fund balance to fund infrastructure and smooth into that higher rate adjustment, we are still north of that policy target, which is just under 4 million. I think it may be 3.7 million, kind of more of a minimum that we would want to retain there. So we still have room above that, even after kind of funding the projected expenses. Just some assumptions there on the side. Not assuming any growth. I think we probably will experience a little bit, but we've been conservative there. In terms of operating costs, I mentioned the two providers. Their rates are going up, pretty substantially. 6% a year. Our costs, we've assumed, are going to be more inflationary. But the bottom line is a good chunk of our costs are going up at a faster than inflationary pace. So that's going to impact our rates. In terms of capital, we've got about $7.6 million over the next 5 years. Those are all cash funded. We do look out into the future, knowing that if a project is taking place 5 years from now or 4 years from now, that it's probably going to cost more than today's dollars. So we do assume some inflation in there. And then just in terms of the overall recommendations, I mentioned that we have those sort of two separate funds and sets of rates. We have the operating rates and the infrastructure charges. We are recommending an adjustment to the operating rates, really to keep pace with the supplier increases. And then on the infrastructure charges, those projects, the $7.6 million is predominantly water-related projects. So that's really where we need the funding in terms of the infrastructure charges. On the sewer side, not as much identified currently, so we don't really need an adjustment there. And what I've done, to that, you can see the details of the rates in the council memo, but I've kind of boiled it down to the impacts for a 30 CCF user. So that's about 10 CCF a month. And if you look at that, it's about $15 per quarter, $5 a month on the well side, and $22 per quarter, about $7-ish a month on the GLEWA side, and just kind of right in between 5 and 6% for each. And I'll just add that even though that's impacts for the 30 CCF user, they're going to be pretty similar in terms of percentage impact, regardless of your size. It would just, the dollars would be different if you use more. But that 5 to 6% is fairly consistent, I think, with what we've recommended over the past 6 or 7 years, and that's really a function of keeping up with our operating costs on the provider side, as well as just keeping our eye on our capital needs as well. But I think we've been pretty consistent, and looking out into the future, I wouldn't expect that to change unless something major changes with our needs or something on the provider side. But we're certainly not seeing anything different on the horizon there.
Colin, could I just interject? So,
yeah, go ahead.
For the proposal, we're proposing that 15 per quarter for the well side and the 21 per quarter, 22 per quarter for the NUA side. Previously, last year it was 15.53, a 5.9% increase on the well side, and 22.31, a 5.7. So this year's proposal is less than it was last year. So the smoothing is making a positive impact. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Colin. You keep going.
Oh, no, it's totally fine. And I think for the most part, as long as we keep visibility on what our needs are internally, we can and we can get information from our providers. We obviously review what they've done historically, but we do ask for information from them. We get it from try to get information from GLEWA through their presentations and the impact on the rate we pay Shelby, and then in Oakland County, we actually requested some additional information from them this year to help forecast their sewer costs. So they do projections as well. They're a big impact on our rates, so we try to bake as much of that in, the kind of best information that we have available, so that we can keep this as consistent as possible. So the last one, and this just sort of summarizes what we've been talking about there. So we do make the rates effective sort of after the kind of irrigation season, so more like September, as opposed to doing it with the fiscal year. That's to sort of ease the impact on the irrigation season. So if you did it right with the fiscal year, you'd hit a lot of people as they're watering. So it does kind of help them to ease into that. That's not unusual, to see that delayed a little bit, or even on a calendar year basis with fiscal year communities. So we do that here. Just mentioned the impacts, the 5.5%, 5.3%. Just for context, we do at this point see similar impacts kind of coming down the road. We're obviously just talking about this year, but we do expect that to be somewhat consistent in future years. And then, nationally, it's, pretty consistent to see increases of about 6% a year on average. And that's really a combination of inflation, declining usage over time for various reasons, as well as kind of deferred maintenance in a lot of cases. So, very typical to see rate adjustments that exceed inflation, and this is kind of well in line with what we see other places, and certainly, less than what we're getting from our providers. So we're mitigating that with what we're doing somewhat as well. Just a quick note on, we do a 5-year plan. We do have a larger project kind of in view there in fiscal 2032. So we are kind of keeping that in mind. I think that would enter the 5-year plan probably next year, and then we'd be looking at the impact of getting that funded. And then just in terms of resources, we always do like to share what we're doing to help customers. We do have the leak alarm, which kind of flags unexpected kind of usage on customer bills. So I think if it's more than 24 hours of continuous usage over a 24-hour period or something like that, because basically you wouldn't be expecting to use water in the middle of the night. It flags that for the customer to say, hey, look, this is something you might want to take a look at. We do have an irrigation meter program, which allows folks that irrigate to save on the sewer portion of their bill. So they would just basically be billed for the water on that outdoor usage, which isn't returned to the sewer. And then, do we also have it's not through us, but through GLEWA, the RAP program that folks can access if they're having issues paying their bill. So that's something that I think goes through United Way, but I could be corrected on that. But that can help with paying those bills if there are issues there in terms of customer assistance. So that's what I've got prepared, but certainly happy to answer any questions.
Council? That was so
Wow.
thorough.
That was riveting, Colin.
Don't stop.
I know.
Councilmember Hauser.
If I could just say, we've heard,
We already
Mayor.
heard those, yeah.
Mayor or Nancy Selly and I have heard this at the asset meeting already, so a lot of this is second time we've heard it. So it's still very interesting and very thorough, but and also very helpful. So I just want to make sure that people, this is, for some of us, the second time we've heard it, so, but still captivating.
Councilmember King, she was actually.
Go. In terms of the large capital spend that's coming up, can you just talk about what we're getting for that? What areas the city, I'm curious, is it to the well, is it GLEWA? When we plan our rates, do we kind of think about which requires more capital? Just be interested to hear.
So you probably have that one on the model, but we have $1 million estimated for investigation for sewer leakage. We've got some infiltration in the sewer pipes. It's not it's not in the area, unfortunately, that we do our lining and our CVTing. It's outside of the city a little bit, going toward the creek. So we have, on very wet days, we're getting higher rates of sewer going through the meters. So we have allocated monies to investigate that, because as soon as we find where those leaks are occurring, that's gonna help us on rates going forward. So there's about $1 million set aside for that. And then for some of the other projects, do you have the?
Main Street.
Well, Main Street is gonna be in one, and we're cash funding that. So that's water main replacements along Main Street. So, I think that, do you have the list?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. Or, do you want me to call some of them out, or?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you would.
Okay, yeah, so we have, Main Street you mentioned, and, that'd be in fiscal 28. That's 3.3 million. You mentioned the II investigation and repair, that's $1 million in 29. This year, there's elevated storage tank improvements. Yeah, water tower. And then there are some improvements. This is treatment plant improvements, but I'm assuming that relates to the groundwater, improvements at the groundwater wells. And those, let's see what else. And then there are some
the big one's Main
streets
Street.
called out here as well.
Yeah.
I think that's probably.
That'll do it. Okay, I'm sorry, I
yeah,
can't hear
yeah.
what's going on on your end.
I also, since he just
That
mentioned
should
it,
cover a good chunk of it.
I think it would be good to just talk a minute about the water tower, because we spent quite a bit of time in that in asset meeting. Just what the future might be in a few years regarding that.
Yes, so for water tower, there's a lot of, because Nick Schaefer, he's been intimately involved in.
Maybe bring the
this
mic up,
planning.
if you.
Yeah, so I don't talk over top of Cal. So yeah, the water tower, we actually brought it forward. It was gonna be in 29. We definitely didn't wanna do it in 28 with Main Street. So pulling it ahead, we're gonna be doing it in 27. So at the end of this year, we'll be putting it out for bid, which will be a full cleaning inside, outside, and painting. in '27, so
An approximate cost on that one?
about $1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah, we're budgeted, last time we estimated it was around 900, but by the time it's all said and done with all the electrical that needs upgraded, probably be close to that, so we're gonna put out the bid at the end of this year.
And are you taking suggestions on the color of the paint?
Whole nother committee for that.
Another committee?
I agree.
I heard it's maize and blue.
And then you'll see the next item that's actually after this to Councilman, one of the wells. So all those little things kind of play into this.
Okay. And then I just had one comment, for anybody who's looking, there's obviously a difference in the usage rates and charges between the well side and the GLEWA side. It's reflective of the cost, but also I think what you don't see, and if you don't live on the well side, is the damage that it does to your appliances. Your hot water heater does not last nearly as long. All of your fixtures become corroded. Your glass shower enclosures, become etched from the hard water and the mineral buildup. So there's a lot of outside costs that come along with being on the well. So.
Well said, as a well person. Councilmember Salvi.
So one comment that I wanted to make for council's awareness was regarding the Oakland County sewer rates. So my big question is, what is in these rates? We heard from Marcy, and when Jim Nash was here from Oakland County, we discovered that we were using more of the system. Our piece of the pie was bigger than we knew. So that's the $1 million that we're going to be doing some investigation to see how we can fix that, reduce that piece of the pie. So the cost for that is in here, but what is not in there is, I'll say, the other pain point that was discussed, the $100+ million building. That is not in here. If that were approved by Oakland County Commissioners, then they go to bond, and then that would come back. But that is not in these rates.
Thanks for circling back around to that discussion, because that is how you found out that there was something going on that needed to be investigated,
Right.
was by those, rates.
And it's just, we are not going to pass on to the customers the rate impact that we aren't sure about. So what we're putting forward is the information for sure cost that are gonna be levied upon us. So when we find out about the $100 million building, then we'll bring that forward. But it would be for next year's, more than likely, it would be for next year's rate discussion, not for this. Government works a little slower than, maybe some of us would like, but I'm very happy that this one is going slow, because I think we need to understand it a little bit more clearly. But the $100 million building is not included in these rates.
Does anyone have any more questions for Colin? Because if not, we could probably say goodbye to Colin.
All right.
Any more questions, anybody for him? Okay.
Thank you, Colin. I'm gonna hang up on you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Oops, good night.
Are you still there? Nope.
Oh, he's done.
Councilmember Trent.
Yeah, this is a financial billing question. I got an email from a resident, maybe you guys did too, asking why it was quarterly billing and not monthly, and I
Sure, I
thought
did
maybe
send
you
that
could
in.
address
Yeah.
that. But I know that in the budget and finance, you guys talked about how the rates were smooth annually to avoid these large one-time hikes, so, to
So
keep
if
them.
you'd like, I can talk about the monthly. It is not, Michigan's kind of unique, and that's what Colin, he could answer that too, because he consults across the US. Other states do bi-monthly, or they'll do monthly billing. In Michigan, it's not uncommon, and it's more common than not to do quarterly or every 2-month billing. And we've done it for years. We've done it since, I don't know, it's definitely since I've been here, and I think it's been a long time before that. We can look at the cost impact of going to a monthly billing cycle, but that's gonna take a little bit more time, because it is maybe something that we discuss at goals and objectives. It has quite a bit of changes for how we collect the meter reading information, how we communicate it with the customers. So we would like to do a real in-depth study on the added cost, because it's not just postage. It is, you're going from 500 to 600 bills that you mail out a month to a couple of thousand. So that would increase the staff time, that would increase the cost of when people pay with a credit card or pay merchant fees would change. So there's a whole lot of things that we would want to be able to quantify and present as cost changes. It might be a great idea. We don't want to say no just because we've always done it quarterly, but we would like to understand exactly what the cost impact would be before we would present that. So this is still based on quarterly.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Closet.
I do think that's something we should look into, because I think you did say it was unique for us, so all those things that you mentioned, other cities are doing more regularly, so.
Out of the state of Michigan.
Yep.
Michigan is more quarterly or every 2 months billing.
Where I was going is I think we should look into it, because I do think if rates keep going up 5, 6, 7% year over year in 5 years, that's, I mean, cumulatively, that's a lot for residents. And I think some of the programs we have, leak alerts, I know Colin mentioned some of the financial resources, like all of that is going to be really important for residents. You just think about everything's raising in cost, and so paying monthly might be better for residents. So it's just something we should keep looking into, is what I was saying.
I completely concur. And I think what we need to do is understand what the charges and the cost differences would be. So that we can figure out what's the best solution for not just the city, but the best for city residents and businesses. So for sure.
Anyone else? I think we need a motion then.
Okay.
Anyone have a motion? Sorry. Oh, sorry. I was looking at, what are the words for the motion?
I don't see any words for the motion, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the water and sewer rates as presented.
Motion by Salvia.
Resolution, including the resolution, and these are effective September 1st, 2026. Is that okay, Marcy?
Correct? That's beautiful.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, motion by Salvia.
And I'll just add this comment that I do really appreciate this smoothing process. You know, I do remember the year we had a double-digit rate increase, and I also remember the year 2020 when we held rates flat. I do wish rates could go down, but the reality is we have very, very old infrastructure, especially on the Detroit side. So it's expensive.
Thank you. Support by Trent. All right, roll call.
Jones?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Clauser?
Yes.
Hauser?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Salvia?
Yes.
Trent?
Yes. Thank you, Marcy, for all
Thank
the
you.
work, and Colin, who is now gone, but it's very informative.
He's good.
We probably lost a few people at home.
Yeah.
Okay, staying with that topic, we have Nick coming back up to talk to the consideration to approve a Peerless Midwest and Company to rebuild a well, pump number 2, in the amount of $59,987.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, to that point, so this was budgeted in this year's budget, also in the CIP for the water sewer rate structure. So this is one of the last 5 wells that's been rebuilt and cleaned. We typically get anywhere from 10 to 12 years out of a cleaning and rebuild. So if you remember last year, we did well 5, this year's well 2, and then so we're kind of caught up. So we'll get a little bit of a break as far as the cleaning and rebuild. So we did go back out to our main 2 contractors, Peerless and Northern. So this evening, we're looking to have the pump 2 rebuilt and clean in the price of $59,879.
Any question, council? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve in the amount of $59,987 to rebuild pump 2.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem, support by Hauser. Comments, questions? Roll call.
Jones?
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
If I may, Mayor, Nick, the good news say about the media, that we won't have to spend any money for, that was kind of good news.
Yeah, so we got some good news at the end of the day today. So the media that kind of keeps all the iron out of the water, we just got the report back today that we're good for another, what was it, 3 years, right? That cost alone is $250,000 to
Wow.
have all that media replaced. So
Awesome.
we get the budget a little bit further out, but yeah, we got that report just at the end of the closing day today. So
Great.
Great
we've been
news.
waiting for that to come in, and it came in, so we'll take it. With
That's
Main
great.
Street and the tower and everything else, we'll take it 3 years. So
Awesome.
So,
That's
thank
great
you.
news. Thank you.
Oh, because it sees the B.
All right, so we're on to reports from the various boards and commissions. We're going to start with Cemetery Advisory Board. Councilmember Salvia.
Yes, Cemetery Advisory Board met August 3rd. It started the meeting with public comment from Mary Jo, who's here this evening. She presented the same comments she did and wanted to come to council. Then the board went into a review of our cemetery ordinance, which is part of our process that we're going through. Specifically, we focused on the pet portion. There was a discussion on whether we should consider a trial that has been discussed, I believe, in the Budget Committee of allowing pets in the cemetery. And the discussion from the committee was very positive in support of allowing a trial period of having pets on leashes in the cemetery. So I think maybe we might be hearing more discussion on that here at council in future. We are working hard on raising funds, our crowdfunding campaign for our gates, our entrances. There is a subcommittee working on a save the date for an event on Sunday, October 4th, which would really be, we're involving high school students, Pat McKay and Kathy Fitzgerald from the museum, really very historic, very respectful, talking about some of the incredible people that are in our cemetery. So that is more details coming on that. I also just really want to talk about the design of the gates, that we're probably going to spend a whole meeting talking about that, looking at different ideas, proposals, cost, materials, et cetera. That committee will eventually make a decision, but this council will have the final decision on that.
Awesome. Thank you for all you're doing for that. I appreciate it. I think we're going to have Nick talk about the Principal Shopping District, because right now we do not have a council member representative. So please, anyone up here think
Be
about
glad if
that.
somebody would join.
Yes, it would be nice. It's
okay.
an important committee to be on.
It is, and it was quite an intense meeting. So we had Christy first went over the DDA staffing. You've all met Colette. I believe Colette's been working out wonderfully. The second person that we hired did not work out quickly. So Christy, it was tough on her, but her and I, we worked together with Ben, and we gave the person the option to resign. It wasn't the right fit for them. But luckily, the third choice, so we had Ruby, was praying that someday she would get a call, and she did, and she will join in a couple weeks. She is a fireball. She's so cool. She came and met Colette. This is like her dream job. So she's right from local, lives locally, and so she'll start soon. And Christy's going to have a perfect team put back together. So that was great. Then they went over things that will come to City Council soon, which will be posed, which is it's an all-American theme, like old historic American thing. So a lot of Abe Lincolns, I think, and things like that will be in the windows. Downtown Trick or Treat, we're going to keep the same trick or treat the same, but then the after party's going to stay on the top of the east deck. Got great feedback that really worked safely, kept the kids moving in one circle. Everybody loved it, so they're going to continue to do that this year. Then they went over the holiday events coming up, the Cookie Stroll, Festival of Trees, Lanya. Christy has been working with Channel 7 to have them increase their presence that day for an hour live show. With her and Chief George totally still in control of timeframes, because remember last year it got a little wonky where turn on the light, we never got a chant, but Channel 7 said hit the button because they were on their schedule.
Yeah.
It will be on our schedule, so we did that, and so she's working on that. There's a couple of new things, photo option spots that will be brought for Lanyap. I think I can say this, so one thing that was pretty important is the pinch point when you get 50,000 people there is Santa and staying in line
Yeah.
with your kids. So it's not that cool. So with the Grand being open, what they're going to do is on Festival of Trees, we're going to have the real Santa there, so you can come to see him the weekend before Lanyap at Festival of Trees. And we can bring the reindeer back, the live reindeer, in the parking lot. So an upgrade, they're going to really push that out on social media. There will not be visits with Santa. He'll be at Lanyap, but you won't stand in line to get a photo out. It's just too chaotic. So, and Channel 7's building this huge stage to put in the middle of the road, which we've already got approved from MDOT, so that it can be much more spread out. And then the sound system's being fixed literally as we speak, so we can use our sound system also, and they're bringing another sound system, so we can spread the crowd out a little bit. And then they'll actually have side stages on like 3 other places, so everything's not focused at one spot. So they're really working hard to make this safer and more enjoyable for everybody. That's pretty much it.
That's a lot.
I have a question. Nick, you may not have this information, but I did see like the financials reviewed, and so I've just been wondering, like, I know the businesses have to pay, and when we talked about the rates, there was some concern. Are the businesses, are they current on payments? Do we have any transparency on that?
Yeah, so far, I think we're at 90%. We had 2 that we had to deal with, and it was just a nudge to get them to pay, so we're good.
Okay,
So everybody's paying.
All right, city attorney.
No, there's more.
Huh?
There's more.
Oh, sorry, I totally jumped. I'm ready to go home.
Paul Harvey, page 2. Yeah.
Nothing tonight.
All right, there we go.
Nothing else to talk about, Christian.
Planning Commission, I'm sorry, Councilmember Hauser.
Clipped my knees out. Okay, so Planning Commission was on August 5th. We had several matters before the Planning Commission. First was approval of a site plan at 134 South Main Street. That is the old dry cleaners. There was an issue with the awning that has been resolved, so I presume work will commence, or the exterior work will pick up again, and they'll probably have that thing done in a couple months. There was a discussion on the project at 139 Romeo Street. That's the old lamp store. The applicant had come in seeking a waiver of 1 parking spot, and I think we came up with a really good resolution that allowed the owner to continue with the project without getting the waiver. He modified his plan, kind of called an audible up at the podium, so that'll be going forward as well. 530 Pine Street, that was tabled. We had a presentation on 118 West 3rd. You may know that as the old Victorian Tea House. Oak Street Design bought that, or the people who own Oak Street Design bought the adjacent property, and they've got a really good plan with that one. So that'll come up for public hearing. And then there was 326 Albertson, that was tabled. They were going to come back next month. That's the old, right over there, the spa, the Hellrow project. That did not take place. It'll come up at a next meeting. Then there was 333 South Main Street. That's, they were seeking payment in lieu of 2 parking spaces. That's going to be set for public hearing. And then there's 1120 North Main Street. That's at the corner of Main and Highland. There was the Deluzio building that was torn down, and they're building a new building. It looks beautiful. They had a couple elevation changes with some windows there, so that'll be coming back for a public hearing next meeting. Just a couple quick things on some subcommittees that are taking place. Planning Commission. First, let me start with all the planning commissioners received their handbook. Okay, so whether you've been on the Planning Commission for years or you were just appointed, we now have handbooks that have some really good onboarding documents. It has the statutes, has all the Open Meetings Act, et cetera. So it's a really, really good document that the mayor and Richard Kinzick worked on to make sure that when you're on Planning Commission, you have a level set and you know kind of how the process works right away. The bylaws are in the final home stretch. I'm hoping by Labor Day, we'll have those circulated to the Planning Commission. Then they'll come before us and we'll take a look at them. There are subcommittees now. There's deep, I know, right? So there's a little Venn diagram. It's just going to be a circle soon. There's some discussion, subcommittee about South Street development. We've all talked about the development on South Street, what do we want to see? Is mixed use an option? Is residential an option? Is it going to be tech, whatever it is. So we're going to have a subcommittee that's focused exclusively on the South Street development. And there's also a subcommittee that's going to focus exclusively on affordable housing and attainable housing and stuff that we've talked about here. So that's going to take place. And then finally, there is a joint meeting, which everyone knows, City Council and Planning Commission set for August 27th, 2026 here. It's going to be in Chambers, not at the fire station. So be here August 27th, 2026, 6 o'clock. And that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, that was nothing. Awesome. Sustainability Committee and Councilmember Trent.
Yes, our committee met at noon today. So we knew that this was, the contract would be coming to council. We were excited about that. So we spent quite a bit of time talking about the rollout for this program. And so the September 19th, we're going to be at the farmer's market with all the information you're going to need and to get the Rochester residents up and running to compost their food waste. And we'll have the different types of containers and where they can get them, and we can answer any other questions that they need. We already have it fully staffed, which is great. And I talked about creating a sign that would be on the bins. We're going to provide content for the website, rochestermi.org website with the FAQs, and we are taking a page out of the Portage, City of Portage, which they've partnered with My Green Michigan, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. How are we going to do this? City newsletter, social media, press release, and then an alert. So we're really excited. We know that we're going to get this up and running, like we said, with people participating and knowing exactly what they need to do. We also, once we get this tackled, we are, what we jump-started as well was we're going to be doing a recycling facility tour for some of us that have, I've been, but I am going to go with a few of us to between September 22nd and 24th. Choose a date for us to go to priority waste recycling there. And we're going to have a lot of questions so that we can have recycling education and myth busters about recycling. So we're going to have that on site, and we're going to start promoting that on our website, and we'll start promoting that. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Question from
That's enough.
Councilmember Clauser.
Marilyn, I have, Councilmember Trent, I have the My Green recycling program. Do
Michigan.
you pick up compost? Do we get, we just drop off our scraps and then they make the compost? We don't get any back?
No, you don't. We already have compost, I mean, not that compost, but we have composting with, for
Not the good
available
stuff.
for the city.
No, we get the wood chips, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no, we have compost and then wood chips, right.
So this is just for dropping off?
This is just for dropping off. And the exciting part is it's dairy products and bread and grains and meats and bones and
Corn on the
grease.
cob.
Corn on the cob, yeah. I mean, BPI certified products, and then we don't tell you what that is. And then napkins and paper towels that are non-chemicals, made without chemicals. But you cannot, you put in bleach towels and napkins. Can't do that. But, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff you could put in there that normally you can't in your backyard composter. All right, so
Okay,
that's
we're
it
gonna-
for my reports.
Well, we're going to keep
Oh, no,
Councilmember Trent rolling.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Budget-
Just getting going.
Budget and finance.
Going. We talked about water and sewer rate sneak peek, but you guys, we got that covered. I need not go into that. We talked about the policy submission for review, and we're going to put special attention on the fund balance policy per prior goals and objectives. That's what we're going to be putting an emphasis on. What is that magic number? And will it change from what it is now, the general fund balance total? Then we talked about rental inspections, and the staff had researched other communities and current practices. We leaned towards keeping current inspection approach at 10% with random audits, but adding a registration and administration fee. We discussed a range that will be coming back to council soon, or to council soon. And we talked about the park permit for dogs and then the cemetery dog trial. We discussed that as well, and we know we've discussed that already. There isn't much to add. Then we were very excited about the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award because the City of Rochester received this award for the first time on the first submission reflecting improved budget documentation, including a new AI-assisted presentation element. And so the staff was thanked and congratulated, and we will bring this to City Council to give our financial department that award. So yeah, that's it. And we have another meeting coming up, September 18th.
Awesome. Health and wellness update with Councilmember Clauser.
Sure.
Yeah.
We've met twice since our last meeting, and we've put together a document that has outlined the scope of the committee and what we wanted to accomplish and priorities and focus areas, so we're not duplicating other areas or committees, and who we'd partner with, and so a lot of those details about what we're thinking that we'll bring to council next meeting for everyone's awareness and feedback. And then we've also met to talk about the city employee health and wellness program and some options we have to potentially expand that program. So health and wellness is on the radar.
Yay. And before we go down the line, I just want to, we have a lot of extra committees. I just want to thank everyone. I mean, we're not just doing the regular committees, we're subcommitting and subcommitting the subcommittees. So, I mean, we are working hard for the city of Rochester. So thanks for everybody. And City Clerk.
We work above our pay grade.
Public comment. Okay. I'm really not doing well tonight. Do we have any public comment? Anybody? Nope, nobody at home. So here we go. City Clerk.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that the election is over and it was very smooth. So I just want to say thank you to all the workers. Thank you to especially DPW. They do a lot of work as far as setting up and moving around things a lot. And then, of course, thank you to Megan. And it was a good election. And then just a quick update, I'm going to be out starting tomorrow. So if you need anything, reach out to Megan in the meantime, and I'll be back soon.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, City Manager.
I was just going to thank Brian and Megan for an unbelievably smooth election. Technically their first time, not their first time doing it, but being in charge, heard nothing but glowing things, what they did. So we're proud of that. And the staff, some of our regular staff works there, and I know it was long days and nice, so thank you, and you guys did great. And Rock and Rods went great this weekend. Channel 7 was here all over it. Got some great press about the event, and weather was great, so everything worked out really good. That's it.
City Attorney.
Nothing for me.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, two things. One, on the 24th through the 27th of August, Letica is going to be resurfaced as a prologue to Main Street next year. So if you're trying to get through there, it's going to be open, but it's going to be slow. And if you have to go to the OPC, you might want to leave early because it's going to be a mess, I think. But that road needs it, but, so that's gonna be, and then just, last Thursday, I wanna say it was a great night in Rochester. There's 3 concerts going on at the same time, and I went to 2 of them, and the weather was supposed to rain, and it turned out to be a beautiful night. So there's lots of entertainment in Rochester.
Thank you for saying that. Councilmember Trent.
Yes, I just want to reiterate a thank you to Brian and Megan and the city staff for a flawless, from my point of view, election process. So I'm looking forward to November 3rd being the same. And I know you can do it, so thank you very much.
I'm going to pile on Brian and Megan, and just because there's a reason our election went so smoothly last week, and it's because Brian and Megan put dozens and dozens of hours in preparation. They had a plan, they had a backup plan, and we also had an emergency plan. I'm not being silly. Like, there was a level of redundancy that was unmatched. John at DPW and Holly and Anthony for also pitching in and doing their stuff. And I want to say, especially thank you to the volunteers who all worked exceptionally long hours. It was, whether it was early voting here for the 10 days, it was counting the absentee ballots, or it was actually there on election day. And come budget time this winter, I'm going to ask for a few more bucks from all of my colleagues, because those volunteers, they get there at 5:45 in the morning. They don't leave until maybe 9:30, almost 10 o'clock at night. And I'd like to see if we could get a few bucks to get them a box lunch or some pizza at 6 o'clock or something, or a case of water, because they worked their butts off. And we had 4,000 voters total over this time for an August primary. We had, 1,600 for absentee. I think we had 401 for the early voting. And then I know precinct 2 had 561 voters. I'll let Brian and Megan talk about what 1 and 3 had, but we were busy from the second we got open until we shut the door. In fact, after 8 o'clock, we were telling people, no, you can't vote, because they were coming in after 8 o'clock. So it was a very busy day. But again, it went so smoothly because of the preparation that Megan and Brian did. And finally, Nick, you were right, the car show yesterday was fantastic. You did a good job with the weather, and Walnut Street was packed from start to finish. So it was a really, really nice day, and a bunch of people showed up. So it was fun. So thank you.
Councilmember Salvia.
Yeah, so the Community House Board met last week. The fence is going up the end of August. All of the nonprofits, all of the teachers, all of the classes have been notified that the building will be shut down effective the end of August. Staff is on layoff. There will be some staff that will be required to work during the shutdown. You know, someone needs to answer the phone, someone needs to, the maintenance person, but it'll be reduced hours. Working with the mayor on when we can schedule, it's really the second groundbreaking, because we did do a groundbreaking with Mary Lee, so we want to maybe have a large copy of that picture, but really we do want to celebrate that and have a groundbreaking, so stay tuned on that. Thanks.
Councilmember King.
So one comment and a question. We were at Rock and Rods over the weekend, just fantastic. Everybody from the city did a great job with that. There were a lot of people. My daughter's gymnastics team had a booth, and the girls were out there tumbling for an hour in that heat, and they were working hard, but it was a lot of fun. They loved it. So thanks to everybody if you stopped by and saw them. And then Jason Warner, do we know, do we have a timeline for the park, the playground? Will it be completed before and ready to go for Arts and Apples? Yes, it will. Fantastic.
Good question.
There was that extra piece of sidewalk that was damaged. Has that been addressed yet?
In the next couple of days, actually, right?
They're gonna stake it next week, and it'll be done the following week.
Awesome.
That had a different group of approval from outside agency just for that, because the drainage changed.
Councilmember Clausen.
Just a huge thank you to Brian, Megan, and everyone who was on the election team. It went great, and all the volunteers, thank you. We did get an email, I think most of us got it, from a resident asking about the bike ordinance and how implementation's going. So I don't know if we could put Chief on this agenda to give us an update, presentation, to just let everyone know how it's going. Thanks.
Okay, I just have a couple things, and just building on what Mayor Pro Tem said. I mean, we had music on Thursday night. We had Rochester, the public library had an event on Friday night, and then we had Rock and Rod. So, I mean, there is constantly something going on in Rochester. We're very blessed. We're still doing things at the skate park. Today, I believe the cement was poured under the shade structure. As Councilmember Trent, who got front page, we have the front page in the last Rochester Post about the skateboard park, so that was really exciting to get that. We're going to continue to add some more pieces to the skateboard park as we move along. The 501 building, I believe August 31st is the deadline for anybody that's proposing a purchase of the building. I think they're taking the month of September to review, and then they're picking the top 3, and there'll be public hearings, I believe, in October, wrapping this up by the end of October, I believe. And then can I just say something about the person who did this? I mean, this, I don't know if you all saw in the manager's report, but I think, not everybody can see this here, but there was a generous donation made in the memory of Patrick J. Kennedy to the Clinton River watershed. It's 2 benches and a trash receptacle at the South Elizabeth Clinton River Trail Riverwalk connection. I just think that is amazing that a family would donate all of that. So thanks go out to them and their generosity and memory. And that's all I have. We good? All right. Adjourn.
Yay.
9:49.